actively want you to be quiet unless you actually have a real pertinent comment or something actually funny to say. But you just...
I mean, I'll try.
Did you hear Dan? He gave his reviews already for the whole set.
It's shit.
Well, each card in the set, he gave reviews for.
I'm gonna assume that...
Dan, what are your grades?
A real pertinent comment.
What's it?
Uh-oh.
Actually funny to say, but you just...
What? Who?
What am I hearing?
That's what I said to Joe Steve moments ago.
I'm hearing the echo of ourselves.
Man, that's a lot of delay. I almost came up with something witty in that amount of time.
Oh, it's powerful. So Dan, what were your reviews of the set? Just all the broccoli cards, yes?
Yeah, every A's, all broccoli.
All broccoli.
Every green card gets an A.
And all non-green cards get Fs.
You're right.
The gold cards that have green in them get like
C.
C's. Yeah, they're
Oh,
half
you're right.
green.
You're right. This is very powerful, Joe Steve. Did you read any of these?
I read some of them.
They are very powerful. Holy shit, Quickling. Quickling by far the best one. Did you read Quickling?
No.
Here I am
Go
again.
down. Oh my god.
Sweet splash screen, bro.
There you are.
Quickling. Quickling. Quickering!
It's like a Final Fantasy item. The
Wait,
quick-
did you
quick
get
read.
these from somewhere, or are these yours?
Google Translator.
Ah.
Yeah.
Alright. Are we prepared? Is this real life?
I guess, yeah, we'll wait like a couple more minutes.
It still is
Hey,
back.
Ring.
Quickring. So powerful. Quickring is so powerful.
Jumpering.
Just so you guys know, we're competing with Channel Fireball Live.
Oh yeah, well they suck. Better than
They
that.
have significantly less.
They don't have
deep
Garruk.
cred.
Oh, good. Oh, we get to see Steve's belly.
Yep.
We get.
Numbers. Is there anything wrong? Can you hear Stella and us?
We should just type out our
We'll
reviews in
know
the
this
chat.
in several minutes when it catches up to him.
Man, there's so much steat in the camera.
There
It's
is.
just his stomach filled with
Oh.
Friday's appetizers.
Did you actually come from there?
Yeah.
Just
Wow,
the Friday's appetizers in the camera.
Yeah, no, behold my work, ye mighty in despair.
Your mic was cutting in and out.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Great.
So this should have been $40-some.
Yeah.
Wow, Joe Steve ate $40 worth of food.
Stella's
Lucy
muffled.
says I'm kind of muffled.
I only stopped because I didn't want to be too groggy for the set review.
Maybe if I turn this up all the way.
But you didn't need to be.
Say something now?
Something? Yeah.
Jesus, that's loud. Alright.
Yeah, nobody needs to be that loud.
You do need to be loud though, because you're not in the room with us.
Oh, okay.
Everyone else is gonna be yelling, so.
Except for Steve, because I told him to shut the fuck up.
I will be talking at appropriate volumes. I hope.
Powerful, powerful.
Alright, let's get started then. So, what's up everyone? This is Alex, Matt, and Dan Stella over Skype,
Also, Joe Steve.
joining us for the M15 Set review. Did you hear something?
Joe Steve's only here in person. He's not.
I didn't hear
You
it.
can ignore him otherwise.
I heard nothing. I heard actual nothing.
So we're gonna go through the entire set one by one now that's fully spoiled, starting with white, blue, and black tonight. Hopefully we'll get through all three colors. We're gonna give ratings based on limited playability and maybe talk about constructed if there's anything relevant there,
Sounds good.
like we did for all the other sets. So
All of them. We've been
Yeah.
reviewing sets for forever.
Yes.
yep, we did them all.
Since born to the gods.
We'll go back and do them all.
Yes.
If we didn't.
Oh,
already.
we should definitely be the forerunners of telling people that Tarmogoyf is good, right?
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah. So we'll go back to the future, right? It's very powerful. Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
Stella,
I don't like this at all. We should get this out of the.
why don't you explain the scale we're using, the grading scale? I don't know. If this is
We can also post this spreadsheet, right?
We could.
Share the
link
spreadsheet with
it.
the
Yeah,
masses
you can
in
link it.
chat.
It's your spreadsheet.
Yeah, just make sure that you.
Boink.
Just make sure you
Make sure
don't.
what?
You don't let it be edited.
I don't think this will let it be edited.
All right.
Numbers can find out. If he goes in and he starts editing this stuff, we'll know. We'll see it.
Oh, powerful, powerful.
Alright, so scale-wise, we're using a letter grade scale. A, B, C, D, E. No, E. Sorry. A, B, C, D, F.
No, he-
We're not allowed to rank these E.
Said that Stella is still uncommunicable.
Uncommunicable? What?
How do I do?
apparently numbers cannot understand what you're saying. Though
Now is that like me from a communication standpoint or a
Volume.
technology standpoint?
I think it's a technology.
Is that volume?
He said it was louder, but it didn't get any better. He said he thinks he just has a bad mic, but we can understand him fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Numbers is just trolling. Numbers said
No,
he is
I don't think
alright.
he is.
Alright.
I think it's pretty obvious when he is.
Okay. Alright, yeah, it's fine. Alright, we're right.
I don't really know how to fix that, but
Ignore Numbers for now.
alright.
Alright,
Focus on the letters.
ignoring the rabble and chat.
Rabble.
Using a letter grade scale, A, B, C, D, F. Your A range or your windmill slams, any of the rare, and mostly rares and mythics, cards that you think can win a game on their own, and cards that are generally good even when you're behind on board. Your B range are cards that during the draft, when you see these, they'll generally make you want to be that color. They're a strong pull towards it. And they're usually also like your first picks, but not like your super high-powered bombs, like your planeswalkers and stuff. C range are like your average playables. C minuses tend to be like what's vanilla on curve, so like a piker or a bear, or like a 3/3 for 4 is like a C minus. And then your D range are like sideboard cards.
That's actually what you want to do, yeah.
Or other playables that aren't good in every deck. And then anything we give an F is just, we don't want to see you play it in a deck, and we don't want to have to play it in a deck, and it's just bad, and you shouldn't play it. So don't play Fs. They're not playable.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna... Is that better, Dan? I guess that's hopefully better. Alright, then let's start, I guess.
Let's start with our first card. It is the Not a Johnny Dynamic Copper. It is the most powerful card. By no means. But, so a Johnny Steadfast is our planeswalker, one of our planeswalkers of the set. It's 3 mana and a white, so 4 total. And he has 3 abilities. +1 until end of turn, 1 target creature gets +1/+1. First strike, vigilance, and lifelink. -2, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and add a loyalty counter to each other planeswalker you control. And -7, you get an emblem with, if a source would deal damage to you or a planeswalker you control, prevent all but 1 of that damage. And he starts at a loyalty of 4. So for limited, for the most part, planeswalkers are always literally insane, right? Like, so you're probably going to first pick this card if it's in your first pack. You're probably going to pick it if it's later, if you haven't really chosen a second color yet. Like, no matter what, this card is pretty insane. Most of the time when you're grading a planeswalker to be good, it needs to be able to, especially whether it's constructed or limited, being able to protect itself is pretty important. So it's +1. You do need another creature, but it does give you a sweet attacker and defender. And just in general, this card is actually bonkers. You know, obviously if you're ahead on board, minusing and just crushing your opponent with, you know, all the value is really good. And otherwise the +1 is very good. And the, you know, ultimate isn't really the best for the limited, but that doesn't really matter when the other 2 abilities are pretty insane for limited.
You don't think that's good for limited? They're never winning the game if you make that emblem.
Yeah. I don't think it's worth it to ever -7.
Right. It's a combination.
Really?
It's a combination
I
of that, and then think of it this way. If you -7, if they have like 3 creatures, right, it's not the total of combat damage. Even if their creatures are only dealing 1 to you, they're still dealing 1 to you, right?
If you're like about to die, then yeah, you might have to -7 to not die. But if you're like ahead and you don't need to like -7 and you'd rather just -2 or +1, like you could just do that. I think.
Yeah, but I guess. I mean, the +1 and the -2 are like, I guess it's good when, I don't think they're as good when you're behind, and they're never winning. Like, if you can keep Johnny at parity and continue to +1 him, but like they still, your creatures still aren't bigger than theirs. I don't know. Maybe I'm overvaluing the.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty hard either way. Whatever you do with this Johnny,
Yeah.
to lose.
The +1 is okay when you're behind. Obviously, you're gaining life. You're getting to keep the attacker that's blocking for you and a Johnny. It's like very good. But I agree. Like, walkers that are like, holy shit, you're behind, like Elspeth or something, and you just like win the game after that. So it's very different. But I don't know if there's too much more about that, and I don't think the ultimate is that good in limited. It's good, but it's not that good.
Have you played with Gisela?
Yes, I have been smashed by Gisela at least once or twice in limited.
I realize it doesn't also give you double damage, but you would like that card was impossible to win through, and that's basically what his ultimate is doing.
To some degree, like the thing is, the difference between that and this is like that created like combat situations that are totally different, right? Because it was like quadrupled because their creatures in blocking were doing like twice as much damage, and your creatures in attacking were doing half as much damage as well. So it was like 1/4, right? So it's actually the literal worst. So that's the reason that card was impossible to beat. But for this, it's a little different. Like, what if someone just played like the 3/1/1 flyers? They were only ever going to deal 1 damage each to you, and it still kills you, right? Yeah. So that's really the only thing with that. But like, it's not really time to like debate about the ultimate.
Yeah. Anyway, I like a Johnny. He's easy to splash, right? He's only one colored mana, which a lot of planeswalkers aren't. He's also. Note that you can use his +1 even if you don't have any creatures because it's up to 1, so you don't even have to target your opponent's creatures to +1. Yeah, he's straight up A. There's really nothing else.
Nope.
Nothing lower you can give him really.
He good.
Yeah. All right. Next card, a Johnny's Pride Mate. This is a reprint. When it's a 2/2 for 1 and a white. When you gain life, you may put a 1/1 counter on a Johnny's Pride Mate. So we all gave him like a C. Stella said C, C+. He's just a bear, right, with upside.
Yeah, there's a lot of accidental life gain in white, which is why I wanted to give him a C+.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
He's pretty much a bear. He's going to be a bear like probably 80% of your games. But.
So the thing is, on like the occasion where it's not a bear, awesome. The thing is, so you're never like picking this card earlier because of the upside, you know what I mean? You're still taking this card like 9th, 10th, 11th pick as the bear that it is, right? So it's never, oh, this uncommon is so powerful, right? It's not like Ornitharch. So like I can't give it. Obviously, Ornitharch is like practically an A as far as cards go, but like this is like it's not a card that I can like give a higher grade because that's going to be something that comes up a lot.
If there's a grade in between C and C+, it would get this because it's a little better than average.
It's a little better than a bear. So
yeah. I do think on first glance that bears are actually going to be pretty good in this format, though.
I agree. This format seems very slow, other than you want to be if you're trying to be an aggressive deck, like very specifically.
Right. Like this is kind of card where the grade might change depending on the format. Like in M14, there was kind of like a life game sub thing. Like you could play a life game deck with that angel enchantment and stuff like that.
And there are a lot of things that specifically gain 4 life in order to work with that. So
if there's enough life game in the set that's already playable, then maybe he's a little bit better than a C.
He's also really good.
What if you get a Johnny?
Yeah, then he's a lot.
He's pretty good because if you get a Johnny with a Johnny's Pride Mate, that obviously makes it 2 A's, right?
You've assembled Voltron.
Yeah. Yep.
You get your herd of fellow Johnny going.
Yep. Your herd of fellow Johnny.
You're right.
That's the Japanese name.
Herd of fellow Johnny. This is very powerful. All right, next card is Avacyn, Guardian Angel. 2 white, so 5. For a legendary creature angel, flying vigilance, 1 and a white, prevent all damage that would be dealt to another target creature this turn by sources of the color of your choice. 5 white, prevent all damage that would be dealt to target player this turn by sources of the color of your choice. So if you take out all of that awful text from this card, and you just played this as a Serra Angel but +1, right? Serra Angel +1 power. Card is very powerful, right? Serra Angel is a fucking sweet card, right?
It doesn't have awful text.
Yeah, I don't know why you call it awful text.
It's a rough sentence to follow.
What I'm saying...
If you ever played with 8.5 tails.
Right. What I'm saying is, like, the thing is, the text itself is awful, like, wording and, like, the way everything works with it. But what I'm saying is, if you ignore that, like, because people are calling this card bad, right? People in general are, like, very upset about this card and how it's, like, not
very
good.
I think it's just because it's not old Avacyn.
Yes, but old Avacyn wasn't constructed worthy either outside of EDH, so that's not really that relevant. But people are very upset about this card, but the card's actually very good. So
this card might actually be constructed playable.
Or in comparison
It's a
to the
lot
others.
closer, yeah.
Closer, but it's still Sarah Angel. Sarah Angel's not constructed passable. So it does pass the vanilla test because it's better than a vanilla card that would be of this like power level, which is very good. And then my only problem with it, the reason I give it a B++ instead of like an A- like Stella did, whereas this card probably does win the game on its own on very frequent occasions. It's very good. It attacks well, it blocks well, has evasion. It's very good. The only thing is for me is it's hard to cast, so it's like very hard white. It's like white. Like unless you're a pretty hard white, like it's not like. I'm not like picking this card in the third pack when I'm like not white. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not that level of bomb where I could easily not be white and pick a Johnny right in the third
Speaking
pack.
of hard white, Joe Steed is behind you guys. You might want to.
Whoa!
Oh god!
No.
Oh god!
Who let him in? Okay.
All right, so that's the only thing about this card that I gave it a little lower rating than Stella did, but I think other than that,
Yeah, that was my reasoning too. Like
it's very
triple
good.
White. But if you're a heavy white deck. If you're a heavy white deck already, this
card
is
is
insane because you can activate the first ability multiple times a turn.
It's actually
if you have
insane.
a lot of white mana.
Oh yeah, it's super insane. Super
The
insane.
7 mana ability is not great because it's 7
No,
mana.
that's too expensive.
It's
Yeah.
reasonably good if you don't have something to cast because they just simply can't attack into you. You just get to go 7 mana
Yeah, I mean,
fog on a
in the
creature.
late game you're holding up that ability, but you're
It's
not going
still
to be able to
not that
activate it
good.
that much.
All right.
But anyway, I guess we'll move on to Battle Mastery. 2 and a white for an aura, and enchanted creatures double strike. So me and Stella gave this a D, and Matt gave this a C. That's kind of a big disparity there.
So
I'll
here,
give it a C.
I guess I'll have to explain why. So it's very simple. So I did it based on, if you look at this card by itself, I agree 100%. I would probably never play this card. However, there are such a high number of cards like the literal next card we're going to read. And that card, searching up this card is like the literal nut, right? If you got to just be like, like 7 mana for a 4/4 double strike, right? Like, cause that's one card now. It's not 2 cards anymore, right?
When are you ever drafting either of these cards? Like,
well,
you hoping to get them both, like the last 3 cards.
I think we
you
should
have?
talk about that when we get to the next card.
Sure.
Alright.
So the reason I rated this card higher is I put it at a C, but here's what I had before. So before I wrote it as a C, I literally had it be a D- to a like C-ish, because the card itself is very good if it goes along with all the other things that are in the set. Right? Like if the enchantment sub-theme in this set is actually good, then that card's actually fine. But if not, then I agree with everybody else. It's probably unplayable.
Well, what I have to say about this card is this isn't Theros. We're just coming out of Theros, where auras were insane because of Heroic and because of Bestow and all that.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
you actually
It's
wouldn't be
back to normal limited formats. Auras are bad. Auras are awful, right?
There's also not a lot. You guys realize there's also not a lot of good removal in this set, right?
There's infinite sorcery speed bounce.
Sure.
Yes, it's sorcery speed, but that still removes auras.
That might make them a little better than normal, but still, it's right. It's just asking to get 2 for 1 with this card.
Sure. Let's move on to the next card then. So I will agree that my rating was a little high based on my review of the other cards.
So next card, Boomweaver Giant, 6 and a white for a creature giant monk. It's a 4/4, and when it enters the battlefield, you can search your graveyard, hand, and/or library for an aura card and put it onto the battlefield attached to Boomweaver Giant and shuffle your library. So it's Godo for auras.
It's Godo for auras.
Auras.
That's also the other reason I want to play this card, because I love Godo Bandit Warlord like no other card.
It's Godo Bandit Aura Lord.
So I guess once we go through the whole set, we'll see like what sweet auras you can search up. But for now, I guess we don't really know too much, except you were talking about the card before it, Battle Mastery.
Yeah, man.
You get a 4/4
4/4
double strike for
strike.
7.
Don't get too excited.
4/4 double strike for 7's okay.
The prismatic aura is insane. That card is insane.
Yeah.
Protection from all colors and like
literally the only card that is worth ever searching up.
Godo
And it's
Bandit
rare.
or Lord. Yep, you got it.
all right. So next
You know what you
card.
can do is you can search up Oppressive Race
Oh, you're right.
and put it on your
On your Boomweaver Giant, you're right. That's a good play.
That is a sick play. You're right. That is something that Joe Steet would do. He's like, I don't have any auras except this oppressive race. Guess I gotta put it on.
You gave this a D+, Stella. Matt gave this a D, and I gave this a C-.
So, This card has a range. This card has a range.
I put this in your grading scale. You said C-. It are 23rds or exceptionally specific archetype cards. I put this in this exceptionally specific archetype card category.
I could see this is a C- if you have a prismatic, whatever that thing is called.
Yeah, exactly. If you have that one aura that we'll get to,
That's
then
sweet.
this thing is C-. But
All right.
Yeah.
So let's go with the next card. It's awful, and we don't have to talk too much about it. Congregate, 3 and a white, instant. Target player gains 2 life for each creature on the battlefield. Now here's the thing. In M15, sometimes there was like a race mechanic with this card where like you're putting
M14?
or M14, right? Or was it M13?
M14.
M14. Yeah. Sometimes in M14, you actually just straight race with this card because you like play a couple dudes and then you're like attacking and they're worried about like combat tricks and whatever, and you're like doing stuff, and then just all of a sudden you're just like, you know, gain 18 or whatever, right? And then if it was that much, that was probably a lot. That was probably a big number. So gain 12 at the end of their turn, untap, and then attack them. Right? Like you're like racing with this card sometimes. And then the other reason that this card was good is because there was a life gain sub-theme. So because of that, it was good because sometimes you make a 4/4 angel with this card, right? So it was pretty sweet. But other than that, this card is really bad, and I think in this set in particular, it's extra bad because there's none of that.
Yeah, you guys gave it D's. I gave it an F.
Yeah.
So I never play it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever played either.
Next card, Constricting Sliver, 5 and a white for a creature sliver. It's a 3/3, and sliver creatures you control have. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may exile target creature and opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield. So it's the Banisher Priest ability.
Two important notes about this is one, that trigger actually will stack. So if you have 2 of them, you get to eat 2 things per sliver, and the returning to play is independent of the constrictor sliver still being in play. So if they remove, if you exile a bunch of their dudes and then kill your own constricting sliver, the other slivers will still return their dudes when they leave play.
So we all gave this a B-. I don't know. What do you think, Stella? If you open this card, are you first picking it most of the time?
I mean, unless like the rare is a complete bomb, yeah. I think so.
This card,
just the ability, if you find a second one and you have 2 of these, that's insane.
Yeah. You mean you still play it if you don't have any other slivers in your deck?
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah,
just a 6 mana Banisher Priest?
It's a 6 mana removal spell with a 3/3 body attached to it.
Right, it's a 6 mana Banisher Priest.
So it's just it's good. It's just good.
And it's splashable.
Yeah, I mean that could be sort of relevant, but mostly because if you just like value out and get any other slivers too, it's like pretty good.
Sliver Hive.
Like none of the other slivers are playable on their own though, except maybe the red one. So I don't really see. Well, I guess the green one's not poopy either, but like I don't really see
if you get Sliver Hive though, bro.
Yeah, it curves out perfectly.
But then you need to have this one first. By curves out perfectly, you mean you can't use 5 mana to tap Sliver Hive because you don't have a sliver out yet. And then you, on turn 7, you get
I don't know what
Sliver
Steve's
Hive.
talking about curves perfectly.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
No, you constricting sliver to eat their thing, and then the next turn you have 6 mana to make a sliver with and start eating their things at instant speed.
But that costs 5 mana.
And tapping that land.
And tapping that land. So apparently it's 6 mana.
You've wasted a mana.
Oh, alright, I see.
You're at turn 7.
Yeah, you got
wasted
it.
a mana.
But you didn't draw that land for turn. You didn't draw that land for a turn.
It's not curving perfectly.
All right,
It's not perfect.
All right, you scumbags. Anyway, so the next card, Dauntless River Marshal, 1 and a white for a creature human soldier. Dauntless River Marshal gets +1/+1 as long as you control an island and has 3 blue, tap target creature with no tapping itself. So it's just the payment of the blue mana. It's a 2/1 by itself. So if you're in blue-white, obviously it's a 3/2 for 2 mana, which is very aggressive, right? Very aggressive in blue-white, which is normally a very good archetype. It has just pay for tap a dude, which is very strong.
And even if you're not in blue, it's still a piker. So you
it's not even the worst, right? Exactly. If you were ignoring that, but even if you were able to do that, so this card is very strong. Like I gave it a B+, Stella gave it a B-, Alex gave it a B. It's definitely in the B range. This card is very powerful. Like for an uncommon, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I mean if you played M13, it was the very similar cycle of uncommons where they had the
Aven.
Yeah.
That
Aven, one. Whatever. There was the
Flinthoof
Lizard, Flinthoof Boar,
all of those
Elephants.
Harbor Bandit.
Yeah.
All of those cards were very good.
Basically the same thing. You get a really nice bonus for playing the other card that goes with it. This one's actually pretty good. So you can use its ability multiple times in the late game.
It's still 3 too early.
Yeah,
Yep.
3 too early, yeah.
The only reason I didn't give it a B was because my grading scale is slightly muddled by the draft process, and you might not end up being white-blue.
Yeah, also though, blue-white is one of my favorite archetypes to go in blind in a format, just because there's always going to be like a blue-white Flyers deck most of the time in a format, right?
It seems very powerful in this set as well.
Yeah.
So it's very powerful.
It's like a tempo-y archetype, and tapping things
Yeah.
is really
It's very good.
archetype,
Yeah.
so.
That card's very good. So I think that Stella, you gave it a little low of a score, but we could.
I think I did. It's because it's gold. That's
Yeah,
literally
'cause
the
it's
only reason. Which is stupid.
gold to
Like
get
I
full
have
value.
to like work out the difference between when you're drafting and when you're playing the card with my grading scale, because there are a few cards where I overvalued / undervalued because I took into account the draft process and not
Alright.
just how good the card is in a vacuum.
Next card, Devouring Lights. 1 white for an instant. Also has Convoke. I'm not going to bother reading that every time we read a Convoke card. Exile target attacking or blocking creature.
Convoke just means you can tap a creature to help pay for it, so to add a mana.
Or more than one.
So,
Yes.
this card's actually insane. Card goes along with my favorite card in this set. So,
I mean, I don't think it's insane. We all gave it Bs, and you gave it a B+.
So-
it's a solid removal spell, though.
it's a
Yeah.
so it's not like a rare level of this card can't win you the game by itself, right? So we can't call it an A, but of things I'm going to first pick in draft, this is going to be really high up there.
Yeah, it's a quality removal. It's a lot better than Divine Verdict. It's obviously it costs a mana less, and then it has Convoke alongside of it.
Correct.
Which makes it a lot, and it exiles too.
And the
So
other
it's
thing
like-
that's even better about this card is this is like so very such a high level of combat trick, because sometimes you're gonna try to make bad blocks, right? So you're gonna like double block something. They're attacking, right? You double block to make the trade, right? And they want to not make the trade, right? So they giant growth type of thing or whatever, right? And you're just like tap my 2 guys and the 1 mana that I had open, Devouring Light, right? So like that's another reason that this card is very good. It can draw out a lot of things.
You're gonna
like
have to pay attention really to if your opponent is representing Devouring Light by their untapped creatures and mana
Correct.
total.
right?
Yeah.
Which is makes this card much scarier.
The only reason I gave it a lower grade than you, I think, I hate Divine Verdict. I hate the attacking or blocking restriction, because it's just it's most of the time it's easy to
Play
tell,
around it.
yeah, to play around it, and
Yeah.
then like
This is much harder to
it's
play
not-
around.
It's not proactive at all.
But what creatures in this set do you care about that don't attack or block at some point?
That's not the point though.
Yeah, it's just
The point is that
Fact
it's
that it
a
has to
restriction on
happen.
it. Yeah.
the reason I don't think this is a B+ is you can still like. Yeah, it's much harder to play around, but it's still somewhat obvious when they leave back creatures that could be attacking.
Right.
But they don't have to,
I'm
because
always
it's
worried
still
about that,
it
yeah.
also still
Convoke.
only costs 3 mana, so you don't have to do that either.
I know that, but it like it's
Yeah, but
like
there are
out
situations
Like,
where-
at that point you're just slowly going towards you're taking the limit as we get to Divine Verdict,
Yeah.
and that card's like a B- or C+. So
I agree, but this card is much better than that card, so
Yeah, I think you're gonna first pick this card a lot though. Pack 1, pick 1.
that's why it's in the B range.
Yep. I guess moving on, we're going to Divine Favor. This is a reprint. 1 in a white aura. When it enters the battlefield, gain 3 life and gives the enchanted creature +1/+3. Everyone gave this a D. I gave it a D+. Matt gave it a D-. Stella gave it a D. So averaging out to a D. I mean, I guess it depends on how much you like playing this card, because it's.
We've done this a lot already, where we hit all of the negativity, positivity on the same scale.
Yeah, all our ratings are under the range of playability, but I mean, I've played decks with Divine Favor in them before, so that's why I give it a D+, because I'm gonna end up playing this card in my bad decks.
I refuse to play this card. I would play
Well,
it an 18th or 19th land before I play this card on many occasions, unless there's a very specific reason to.
Would you play a 7-mana 5/7 that gained you 3 life?
7 mana, 5/7 that gained me 3 life.
The Godo Bandit Warlord.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
Well, I would think about that.
Anyway, don't play this card if you don't have to. Is basically right.
That's correct.
We don't want to play that card ever. Next card, Ephemeral Shields. 1 in a white instant with Convoke. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. So, pretty sweet combat trick.
It's okay. It's like not even close to as good as any of the ones in Theros.
Right, doesn't give any +1/+1 bonus or anything like that. Power
So
to put one top
So it's
bonus.
really hard for you to like say, for example, with like mortals are that you can like get your opponent to attack or block wrong and then blow them out. It's so hard to do this with this card because it doesn't give any bonuses. So if your thing's a bear and they're attacking their 3/3 into it, they still don't care, right? Like that doesn't ever matter. So it's not that good. I don't like it that much.
I got tired of standing.
Yeah, we gave it C minus range.
Yeah, the only reason I like it a little more than you guys, I think, is because in core sets, blanking removal tends to matter more.
So just like blanking their 3 damage removal spell or something.
Unfortunately, it doesn't blank Devouring Light, but
Yeah. Or bounce
No, it
spells.
doesn't.
yeah,
It doesn't
bounce
get rid of that
spells.
one.
It's worse than protection, like God's willing.
It also doesn't stop ulcerate,
Yeah, true.
but
But it's definitely. I think I count it as a 23rd card.
yeah, I might
My
come
next.
down on this. I'm gonna stand firm at a C right now because I feel like I would actively pursue this in some archetypes.
Yeah,
but
it could be
we'll
like a
see.
21st or
Like,
22nd card.
Yeah.
Next is First Response, 3 in a white enchantment. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you lost life last turn, put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. So D's, we gave it D's. Stella gave it a D+.
This card is actively bad.
This is kind of a card you have to really think about the board states and stuff, how it's gonna come into play. You're gonna get hit something probably really hard because it's not coming down till like turn 4, right? Because I mean, losing life means you're like willingly taking damage, or you have bad blocks or something. So you're not like in a good situation already, and then you get a 1/1 after the fact. So I don't really like this card. I don't know. What do you think, Stella?
Yeah, it might be a little
D+.
high on D+.
It's way too cute. It's not good. In limited. It's just so slow, and you have to like Alex said, you have to be getting
You have to
hit.
be like getting.
Yeah, if you're winning, this card doesn't do anything, right?
It actively does 0 things if you're winning.
It's the opposite of the red enchantment, which only does things if you're winning.
Yeah, this card, I don't think it's playable. We all put it in the unplayable range, so.
It's pretty bad.
Well, we put it in the playable range.
It's a
but
trap. It's definitely a trap
that's
card. People are going to play it, though.
It's gonna be powerful. So this next card is actually one of my favorites for limited. This card is powerful as fuck. Geist of the Moors, 1 white for a flying 3/1 vanilla. So French vanilla with the flying. I'm gonna draft this card all the time.
We all gave it a C+.
This card is very aggressive. So it's not a first pick because it's not a bomb or it's not a removal spell, but this card otherwise is just insane. This card this card comes down on turn 3 and probably does 9 damage before like ending up dead or blocked or something. And it trades with like every good card in this format that's not like a rare or gigantic, right? Like, 3 power is a lot, actually. So the card's very good. It's just the double white makes it like a little harder to cast, but card's awesome. I'm going to draft a lot of this card because I like playing that type of aggressive deck.
How good are you gonna feel when it gets Forge Deviled?
I'm gonna be satisfied when I get to Fortune Devil this card.
Yeah.
Yes, that is real.
Yeah, like we were talking about, like the blue-white flyers tempo-y kind of deck.
It's okay.
This card's great in.
I'm gonna make him
Yeah, it's very
indestructible.
Like you play this on turn 3, turn 4, you bounce their guy and get in with your 2-drop in this guy. So you can be attacking for 5 on turn 4 and then tempoing them at the same time.
Yeah,
So
you
I
could
like that.
welcome turn into Geist into what is it? Enter the Void or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Into the Void.
That seems like a really reasonable curve. And
Yeah.
Gets you way ahead early.
So the next card here is we're already going back to Theros in the core set. Heliod's Pilgrim, 2 and a white for a human cleric. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an aura, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So thus far, in white, we have seen 2 auras. They have been Double Strike Aura and Divine Favor. Thus far, would I pay 5 mana for a 2/5 that gains me 3 life? Probably not. It's not the worst.
It's
Would you-
Stoneforge
Yeah.
Mystic.
Would you pay 1 more for Stoneforge Mystic without the ability?
Right.
You don't have to put the verdict on this thing, or the favor.
You don't, but it's not really like a 2-for-1 because
It doesn't
how
make it better.
because how excited am I or am I for play? How excited am I about playing a 2/1 for 3? Not excited at all.
It's a 1/2.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
Yeah, I
1/2.
think this is going to be a lot really dependent on your deck. If you have good auras already.
So if I had that,
you're not going to take this early at all.
If I had
right?
that prismatic aura, I would snap take this
Right,
card.
if you already have good auras that you want, even like the removal auras too, right?
Right.
Oppressive
Called
rays,
Spectral-
things like that.
Oppressive rays or
keep
whatever.
mentioning it.
There's probably better removal auras. Oh, stab wound.
Stab
Yeah,
wound.
stab
Oh
wound.
my
Yeah.
god.
That's probably your primary
Yeah.
your primary fetch with this thing.
Don't
But,
accidentally stab wound your boom.
Unfortunately, they moved that to uncommon.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
but, you know, you can still get 1 or 2 in your deck. Also, I think this card's a lot better in constructed than it is in limited. With if you combine it with Theros block, right? Because of all the bestow cards. Are those
Bestows aren't
auras?
auras in the library.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
they're-
Forget what I just said.
They're just
Hushwing Griff.
creatures.
Hushwing Griff is the next card.
Alex actively doesn't know how bestow works.
Hey, I can dream. Look at this card in a boon set. Hushwing Griff, 2 and a white creature hippogriff. It's a 2/1 flash flying creature, and creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. So it's Torpor Orb on a stick. This is like one of the first creatures they spoiled, or one of the most exciting creatures I guess that they spoiled.
I think it's better than you guys rated it.
This is for
This
limited.
is for limited,
We're talking
yeah.
about limited here.
It's still a 3 mana 2/1 flash flyer.
You can really easily compare it to Geist of the Moors, which we just went over, right?
And it's not better than that.
They're at the
Yeah.
same
They're not better than
CMC.
that.
Yeah, right.
It's not better than that card.
Yeah, it's not.
I think I put them
you
at the
guys rated
same,
it
right?
C's. I thought you rated it as
Yeah.
C's.
No,
You
it's-
guys-
it's a very playable.
You guys put
Yeah.
this card at C. I put it at
Yeah.
the same because I think the flash ability is underrated. You guys are underrating the flash ability.
But Flash in this format seems irrelevant.
I was also thinking about the fact that
It shuts off your own.
Yeah, it's a
abilities.
drawback. It's not necessarily good for it to turn off your enter the
No, but it's not
battlefield.
bad either because your opponents could have them too. I think it breaks even in that way.
Depends. I mean, your
It might.
components
Right.
could have 0.
It always depends, but it's going to depend on you and them. So I think
But
it's going to break
I'm
even.
100% planning on curving Hushwing Griff into Heliod's Pilgrim. So, I
that's
mean...
great. Yeah.
You're right. All right, so let's move on because it's not all that exciting. But one of the things that this did make us think about is so if this
Modern.
card gets played in Modern,
Yeah.
and you know what you got to do then? You got to put your Splinter Twin on your Kiora's Follower, make a bunch of tapped guys pass the end step, and then untap them all during your turn and attack with them. Because Kiora's Follower does not use an Enter the Battlefield trigger. Boom.
Yeah, good sideboard card against Pod and Twin. Those kind of decks in Modern. So I'm sure we'll see it in Modern soon. The next card, Kinsbale Skirmisher, 1 and a white for a Kithkin Soldier. When it's a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets 1/1 till end of turn.
So Stella rated a Johnny's Pride Mate a C+, but did not rate this card a C+, which makes literal no sense because
It was C+. plus.
this card always has the upside of the bear, right? It not only is a bear all the time, but always gets the upside that it has. Whereas Johnny's Primate may never be more than a bear.
Yeah, I think this. You have to say this is better than the Primate, right?
Yes.
It is better than the Primate.
Yeah.
So your grading system is broken.
Like not much better.
It's not.
Like
No,
both
well,
of these
I
are
mean,
barely
On
better
turn
than
2,
the
it's
bear.
arguably much worse than the Pride Mate.
We know where the ceiling
It's not much
of
worse.
this
It's
card
arguably
is,
the
though.
same as the
Primate's
Primate.
ceiling is much higher.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
upside-
The ceiling is higher on the
Its upside
Primate.
goes
Yeah.
away, yeah.
But this card is like not the actual literal worst, like a bear, only when it comes into play later in the game too. Like it could be like one point that you need to push through, or it could be a lot of different
Right,
things.
like Snarecaster was. This is worse than tapping a guy down, but Snarecaster, it's kind of like a Snarecaster. Where
Right.
If you draw it late, it still might do something.
Right.
Yeah. Next card.
So this aura is actually pretty good. Marked by Honor is 3 and a white for creature gets +2/+2 and has Vigilance. Here's the thing. If you remember the aura from Return to Ravnica. They cost 5. Gave your dude plus 2 plus 2 in vigilance.
What was
But it
it?
also made a 2/2.
That's what I'm saying.
Something
Knightly Valor,
Knight
yeah.
something.
Knightly Valor.
Knightly Valor, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Al and I actively drafted that card.
Yeah, this is not
Constantly.
close to Knightly Valor, though.
Right. Because this doesn't make it 2/2, right? So it doesn't like have 4 power vigilance for 5 mana. So this card is okay at best, but I'm pretty sure I really like C. Yeah, C. It's like just not that good. Like auras are just always asking yourself to get blown out, so I just don't feel like it's that great. But I mean, here's the thing: would I pay 7 mana for a 6/6 vigilance? I think I would.
Yeah, I gave it a C minus. I think it's a little worse than you guys rated it.
I don't think it's that good either. C minus is probably an
I don't want to
appropriate
play auras on
rating.
my deck, really.
I agree.
Moving on, Mass Calcify. 5 white. Sorcery, destroy all non-white creatures. So this is like the Wrath of the set?
Kind of, not really. It's not really. There's like
Well, the white Wrath.
I can't imagine that's the only.
The white Wrath of God.
But the non-white Wrath of God, because it's destroy all non-white creatures.
What did we get this?
So Stella is the only
Wow.
person who did a totally different score than you and I.
minus.
So we both said C to C minus. So Stella, explain why you think this card is good.
Because it's a Wrath effect.
It's a Wrath effect, yeah.
It's because alright, so here's the main reason. Because everyone undervalued Extinguish All Hope. And that card
I didn't.
pretty much won the
I love
game
that
every
card.
time I played it. This card is very similar to that card in the fact that you're going to be playing white playing this card, and this is a core set. I'm pretty sure 7 mana should happen. It does look like aggressive decks are going to be a thing, but I don't think 7 mana is unreachable. It was like in most M14 games you're hitting like 8 to 9 mana, so 7 mana should be reachable in this format, and it does like if your opponent's not playing white and you are, it's
like again, the
insane.
ceiling on
It's
this
all
card is
play-
insane, right?
So, yeah.
Like if you're playing out your white creatures, it's not even like obvious that you have a Wrath like it normally would be if you're sandbagging your creatures. So that's probably better than what I gave it. I gave it a C minus. Yeah, it's definitely better than that.
I give it a C. So I saw where Stella was going with it, but this is not a card I'm.
Yeah,
very
I mean you're not
attracted
gonna play it in a really aggressive low curve deck, white deck.
Which it seems like a lot of the white decks are,
But anything above a very aggressive deck, I think you're gonna play it in a white deck.
could be true.
Also, admittedly, I don't think you would want to first pick this card because other people probably don't value it at that range. But I do think it's as powerful. I think it's powerful enough to be a first pick.
I don't think we'll ever first pick that card, but I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna grab a beer.
All right.
I'm gonna steal his seat until he comes
Next
back.
card is
Absolutely
Absolutely not. Absolutely
I'm just
not.
hovering. Just hovering.
Absolutely not. Get out of my seat.
Meditation puzzle. 3 white instant with Convoke. You gain 8 life. Good old.
Good old Heroes Reunion for 3 more mana.
We all gave this an F.
It's better.
Life
than
gain
you.
is not
I
good.
gave it an F minus.
Straight up life gain, not good.
28 is greater than 27, and we all know that 27 is greater than 20, and your
I'm gonna pour
opponent
this
is
beer
trying
on
to
your
play
head.
the 20
It's
damage.
it's really puzzling to me
I
why they printed
actually
this card.
Just moved this seat. I didn't get into your seat at all at any point.
Oh, yeah, this is powerful amount of beer.
All right, moving on. Midnight Guard. This is a reprint.
It's
Oh,
also,
I
it's
love
also
this
a
card.
twin combo piece.
No, this isn't a reprint, is it?
It is a reprint.
It is a reprint.
It's from It's
Yeah.
the Avison block. It's from
2 and a white
Strut.
for a 2/3 human soldier. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, untap Midnight Guard.
Oh my god, this is
We all give this a C. So
Okay.
Riot Devils with
Your
some
tiny hands.
upside.
Steve's powerful tiny hands open this beer for me.
Fuck.
I'm enjoying so much of what's
All right, I guess that's about all we have to say about Midnight Guard.
What?
It dodges illness in the ranks if you combo it with twin.
This is draft.
Oh, is this a twin combo card?
This
Yeah.
card's just a
Oh,
Riot
you're right.
Devils.
Yeah.
Card is just a Riot Devils.
This card is just like worse than Village Bellringer.
It's
Splinter
it's
Twin.
worse than
With Splinter
Preaching
Twin.
Hippocamp.
You know what it's
Except
not?
they can't dodge illness. Or not illness.
It does dodge illness.
Corrupt.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, but it doesn't have flash
Yeah.
like Village
Oh, yeah.
Bellringer does.
Yeah.
And it's also dies the bolt.
You're right.
Midnight Guard Twin. brew coming
soon.
and in Boston. I'm playing Midnight Guard Twin. Twin Night Guard.
I already have the. It's literally just like 15 different guys that combo with Twin, and then 4 twins and 4 Kikis.
Yeah.
And the
4
greediest
Kikis?
mana base ever.
Ugh.
It doesn't run anything that's not the combo.
All right, let's go to the next card. Oppressive Raise.
Another reprint.
From very recently. Enchanted creature can't attack or block unless its controller pays 3. Activity abilities of enchanted creature cost 3 more to activate. So, this card, where are we going here?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's all good. So I gave this a C+, Alex gave this a C+, Stella gave it a C-. This card is actively good in Theros. I've had it be bad only one time, and it was when my opponent had like 30 ways to make mana. But other than that, this card has been actively good every time.
The longer the game goes, the worse this card gets, obviously.
Yeah, I think this format's going to be a little slower than Theros. It might be more C than C-, but I don't think it's a C+.
It's probably worse than it was in Theros.
But in the aggressive white deck that we've been seeing, especially with the next card that we're going to talk about, like I think the card's going to be very good, but we'll see. You're right though. We'll see. Next card.
Resco Swiftclaw, another reprint from Theros. 3/1 vanilla Cat Warrior for 1 and a white.
Does it have the exact same flavor text? It does. That's so shitty. Why would they do that? They could at least.
It's the Theriad. They have to quote the Theriad. They can't change the Theriad. It's already written.
You could have quoted a different chapter.
No.
Okay, well, I mean, this card's just very aggressive, right? C+ because it's just 3/1 for 2.
Probably better than on Bear.
And it gets through all the infinite Riot Devils and all core sets always.
Yeah.
Alright, so the next card is a good card. It's called the Paragon of New Dawns. 3 and a white for a human soldier. It gives other white creatures you control +1/+1. It has white tap. Another target white creature gains vigilance until end of turn, and its own stats are it's a 2/2 for 4 and does not pump itself. So this card is very good if you're in the white aggressive deck, right? Like if this is like the top of your curve and your like Swift Claws are then like 4/2s and your flying 3/1s are now 4/2s, and you're you know, for some reason, oh no, your Midnight Guard is like now a 3/4, right? This card gets very powerful very quickly, right? Your Raise the Alarm tokens are 2/2s.
Right. The token makers make this card a lot better.
Right, but even if it wasn't for that, though, this card is pretty...
There's Raise the Alarm, and then there's Triplicate Spirits,
right,
which we'll get to, which makes this card a lot better than if just looking at it in a vacuum.
Right.
I still don't think this card is as good as you think it is, though.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's deck dependent. Like, obviously, if you're all white creature, mono white, this is going to be a lot... It's going to be an Anthem on a 2/2.
Right.
Its ability is really strange to me. Like, why doesn't this creature have vigilance itself?
Right.
It just seems...
Because then it could... No, that wouldn't work.
It doesn't work that way.
I just don't like the idea of it being, you know, sitting there. You can't attack with it if you want to use the ability, and then
You also can't
you
block
can't.
with
You
it.
have to pay a mana and tap it to give another one of your creatures a white creature too. Vigilance, like it's really narrow. I think.
Yeah, it's pretty... That part's pretty narrow, but if it was just a 2/2 for 4 mana that gave all white creatures you control +1/+1.
Yeah, with Honor of the Pure attached.
Yeah.
Right, which is pretty good, but it is what it is. But
So,
you're right.
So Matt, did you try to tell Joe that he couldn't do something he can do? Because he most certainly can attack and then give that creature vigilance. That he's allowed to do that.
What?
It would happen. You just wouldn't do anything.
It just wouldn't do
Give that
anything.
tapped and attacking creature vigilance, yo.
Yep. Alright, next card. The next card is another very good card. It's Pillar of Light, 2 and a white for an instant that exiles target creature with toughness 4 or greater. Now, the thing is, to evaluate this card, you may have seen it in white, especially. There aren't actually that many big-butted creatures, right? So far, like we've gone through like half the white, and like so many things are like 3/1s and whatever. So it's it's a little. I'm gonna assume this has to be a very good removal spell. It's a 3 mana instant speed removal spell that has one specific downside. But other than that, the only thing I'm worried about is is this format gonna have that many creatures with toughness 4 or greater? You know what I mean?
No, it really doesn't. It's like green and rares. This card is pretty much a rare killer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is.
I think that I still think that makes it in the it's probably still in the B range. Because I'm assuming everyone's going to have creatures you want to kill with this.
This is a card you're gonna side in and out a lot, right?
Yeah,
depending on your
I think
opponent.
you'd probably start at main, and then it might come out in some matchups.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I still think it's good enough to be a B range removal spell. It might come down because of that, because it does look like there are very few. It's like green has a lot of 4-butted creatures, and then like almost every bomb rare it has 4 in the butt. But like,
I think we're gonna have to
this
play the
doesn't even
format a
kill
little
the
bit
5/3
more.
promo card in black.
Yeah. All right. Preeminent Captain is the next card. 2 and a white for a 2/2 Kithkin Soldier. First strike, and when Preeminent Captain attacks, you may put a soldier creature card tapped from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. This is actually a reprint, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's from Lorwyn.
So this card,
So
I don't understand these ratings. There's a lot of non-letter grades here.
So Stella has C plus to B minus. I have C early, B late.
We put it in like the B, C plus range, basically.
So the reason is there are actually a very large number of soldiers in this format. There's a very large number. So if you happen to have a large number of them in your deck, this card gets much better, right? So what I'm saying is I would never pick this card early because by itself it's not very powerful. If you had
That's a little preeminent.
No.
Really.
correct. That's
See what
that's
he did
powerful.
there? See what he did there?
I feel like it's a little premature. So I feel like early I would not pick a rare because it's a 2/2 first strike for 3. Like that sounds awful, but if like pack 3 I notice like, oh, I've got like 6 soldiers that I can just put into play for free, that's going to be pretty sweet. So that's why this card has like some no applications early on. It's like okay, it's pretty good for a vanilla dude, but like later on it could be insane if you're just like, I have these like 4 soldiers I'm just going to put into play. Right? It's pretty good.
So Stella,
also-
were you waffling because this is a card like deck dependent again? Like how many soldiers you have in your deck? If you have like 10 soldiers in your deck, then it's a lot better. But if you have
I mean,
no
a
soldiers-
2/2 first
Yeah.
strike for 3 is not bad on its own. You don't have to
it's
have
worse
any
than a 3/3 for 3.
I mean, yeah, but it's not bad. It's
Yeah,
just,
I don't know if a 2/2 for first strike for 3 would even be a C plus when there's Riot Devils
Right.
all over this format.
Yeah. Again, depends on the format really. How many X2s there are. Or X1s and X2s. What's the biggest soldier you can put into play in this limited format? Is there like some kind of like 7-drop soldier?
Lavinia the 10th.
No,
we've already
limited.
talked about
Idiot.
that. Alright, let's see. Is there anything up this
Is it the
side?
aura guy? Is he?
He's a
soldier?
monk.
No.
Giant monk. No.
There's probably nothing good.
Oh, Johnny's Pride Mate.
Yeah, there's nothing good.
It's a River Marshal, the Paragon.
There's no 6-drop soldier or something like that. I guess
No,
we'll see.
Those souls are not soldiers either. They're just souls.
All right, next
They're
card.
not soldiers.
Another reprint. Raise the alarm. 1 and a white instant. Put 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield.
Oh man, this art is so much better than that shitty art that it used to have.
From Mirrodin?
What? No,
Mirrodin's
I know
sweet,
that's
man.
I'm gonna
Were they
use it all the
farming
time in
or
my deck.
fighting? You can never tell.
Shout out to Mirrodin block.
Shout out to
One of the
Mirrodin
best,
Block.
one of the best blocks ever.
Yeah, that's when I started
Second
playing.
to Old Ravnica.
So we all gave this a C+. It's above average.
It's like two. It's
Way
like
better than a bear.
it's a flash bear and
Yeah.
separate guys.
Split in 2 bodies with flash.
Yeah.
Again, really good with the Anthem guy we just talked about.
Yep.
And
Nothing else.
Convoke. It's good because of Convoke, guys. Can't we talk about how it's
Convoke,
good 'cause of
you're right.
Convoke?
It's good because of that too, but it's still just very good. All right, next card.
Razorfoot Griffin. 3 and a white. Creature Griffin for a 2/2 flying first strike.
It's just the truck, but it's white. Or sorry, the plane, but it's white.
Yeah, that's not a plane.
What do you mean?
It's
Plane
not-
didn't
it's
have
the
first
white
strike.
plane.
But I mean, it's the
The
same.
plane was a 2/1.
The plane was a 2/1 flying first strike for 4.
All right, it's the white plane. You're right.
Oh, that plane. We're talking about Anvil Rot Raptor, not the actual plane.
Primal Clay? In plane
No,
form?
the
Choosing
one that
plane
was-
mode?
Choosing plane mode of Primal Clay. Dude, Primal
Uh,
Clay is powerful as fuck, man.
So we all gave this a C-. We all agreed again. This is like the
did
23rd,
it.
a 23rd card in your deck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy to play a 2/2 for 4,
No.
but at least it has other abilities.
Yeah, not even close to the Jumbo Jet numbers.
All right, next.
Resolute Archangel. 5 white for a 4/4 creature angel with flying. When it enters the battlefield, if your life total is less than your starting life total, it becomes equal to your starting life total. So in limited, it's going to be your life total sets to 20, which is pretty good. We gave this B plus. Stella gave it a B. We gave it a B plus.
It costs a lot for a 4/4 body, so I agree with Stella. But the fact that it catches you back up, right?
On average, it's going to gain you a lot of life, I think.
Right.
It's
when you play.
It's like fine if you're slightly behind or at parity and aren't at full life, but I like the reason I think I'm a little lower is because you might as well not have text on that unless a 4/4 flyer stabilizes the board and you're paying 7 mana for it.
But here's the thing: it could be a situation where, say, like you're at like 8. If this card said, like, it's a 4/4 flyer for 7, gain 12, is that good? It's pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to come up as often as you want it to.
Yeah, it's gonna be in a racing situation. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it'd be very good then. I also think it might as well be a 4/4 gain 12, and then on your opponent's next turn he attacks you for 16. And you have 4/4 that can block maybe, but it's like, I'm glad I gained 12 life.
Probably true, but we're talking about a racing situation, so that's what it is.
And then you have a 4/4, which is not like, the worst.
Yeah, in the situations where a 4/4 flyer stabilizes the board, it's insane.
Like, it'll stop all their 2 and 3 drops from attacking then, but,
Yeah, but it's still 7 mana for a 4/4 flyer.
Yeah.
Yep. So B, which is why it's even though it's a rare, even though it's like a 4/4 flying angel, it still isn't. It's not winning you the game. Slam.
And 7 drops are kind of a trap.
That's true. And Steve would know that from the 7-drops.aggro deck.
There were only 3 of them.
All right, next card. Return to the ranks. X white for a sorcery that has Convoke. Return X target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. So this is
Battlefield.
to the battlefield. Apologies. So this is somewhat similar to that one X card that was X and then
Immortal Servitude.
Yes, Immortal Servitude, hybrid black-white. Oh God.
Wee.
So it's somewhat similar to that, and I still don't think it's good. I still think it's bad.
Yeah, we all rated this unplayable. You gave it an F.
I gave it an F.
You gave it T's.
I would never play this in my limited deck.
No, even if you have a lot of 1 and 2 drops, the effect isn't good, right?
How often do you play any of those 4 mana return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand type of effects?
Once in a while, but
never.
this is a lot worse than that.
Exactly. Almost never, and this is much worse. Alright, next card.
Sanctified Charge. 4 and a white instant. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. White creatures you control also gain first strike until end of turn. Actually I read this card wrong. But, what did we give this? C-, D, C+?
Were you too high because you read it wrong?
Yeah, I thought it said lifelink for some reason.
Yep.
Oh.
I thought this card was like the Modern Masters card with Entwine.
Stir the Pride.
Stir the Pride, yeah.
Nope.
But
Not
it's
close.
a lot worse than that.
No, it's not
close.
So this card, obviously, you want it. If you're gonna play this, you're gonna have basically be almost mono white. Get the first.
This is also going to be the very, very top of your curve in an aggressive deck as a 1-of. So the cards, since it's common, it's gonna table so hard, and there's not gonna be that many people with this card in their deck. So it's pretty bad. It's for +2/+1, right? So this isn't even Righteous Charge. Righteous Charge was 1 white for +2/+2. I know it was sorcery speed, but it was still way questionably be better than this card. And this card also has the first strike you only get for white creatures. It's not great for 5 mana.
So if you have at least 2 white creatures attacking or blocking, this card's I think is pretty good for a good rate for 5 mana. Anything over that is just insane. Anything worse than that's obviously really bad.
I think the reason this isn't a D for me is because of the token generators.
That too, yeah.
Because there's 2 separate token makers at common and white. That's the only reason this is in the C range for me. Because it is awful cost. 5 mana for this effect is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. But yeah, I can see that. For me, it's going to be my 23rd card, so that's why I can't give it a C. We said D- is 25th card, right?
Yeah. I think this is a little better than the, specific archetype card because having white creatures,
It's-
having aggressive white creatures isn't that narrow of a
But
constriction.
white creatures is an archetype.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I'm just saying the reason
it's not a narrow one though.
The reason it's a D,
No, that's true.
D-ish, D plus, whatever for me is because I don't want more than one of these in my deck, and it's definitely my 22nd or 23rd
Yeah,
card.
you definitely don't want more than one.
Yeah, that's why it was
It's like
a C
you're
minus.
overrun.
It's a 22nd card for me. Like curving triplicate spirits into this card seems pretty insane,
Sure.
and that'll probably happen often.
Yeah.
Often when
I
you're
guess
Stella.
We'll have to come back once we play this for like a month just to see
Yeah.
how right or wrong we were about that. Next card, Selfless Cathar, is a reprint from Absent Block.
Also, is a really good Japanese.
One white for Cleric, and you could pay one in a white and sack it to give creatures you control 1/1 till end of +1/+1 till end of
So
turn.
every time I played this card in Avacyn Restored, it was very good. Like, or in whatchamacallit.
I didn't think it was good. I mean, it triggered Morbid,
It was
which was relevant,
fine. Yeah, I don't think
I
it.
didn't think
I
it was
think
good.
very good is getting a little too excited about it.
Here's the thing. So the card, if you played on turn 1, probably gets in for like 2 or 3
but
damage.
it's like an
usually.
onboard trick.
And
too.
Avacyn, I mean, in Innistrad, if that was happening, your opponent did not know how to play Innistrad.
So gets in for like 1 or 2, right?
Because you get it for 0, but it could get it for 1, I guess, if you're on the play.
All right. Then this card, I know it's an on-board trick. I guess the reason it was better in Innistrad is Alex is right. It did trigger Morbid on
It triggered
command.
Morbid, yeah. And you didn't, and you
And was a
sometimes
human.
wanted things in your graveyard for like your zombies and stuff too.
But
No, you're right.
Coming down from just, limited fundamentals, you should not be playing 1/1s for 1.
Yeah, with extra
Without
abilities.
very powerful ability. It has to have a really good ability, like Deathrite Shaman, for it to be played.
You're right. I mean, I put it as a C minus, but it's probably a D plus. You guys are
And
probably
that's
right.
has a really powerful ability like tapping for 1
Like,
life. Don't play Soul Mender.
like Triton Shorestalker.
Oh my god,
No, I'm just
So
kidding about that.
powerful.
Don't play that card.
so powerful.
Wow, what? Seraph of the Masses is the next card. 5 white for a star creature angel. Convoke, flying, and its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control.
So
This
this
card
card
is really hard for me to grade.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I must have changed the grade about 3 times in this card before
Yeah.
I even showed you guys the
the card's actually probably better or the same as Resolute Archangel, right?
The floor and
I
the
think it's
ceiling for
better.
this card is really,
high.
really huge.
Yeah, I think on average this card is going to be better, but I'm scared that it's not. So, that's why
So
I
in the
didn't
token
put it
generator
at
deck, this card's probably crazy, right?
If
That's
all your
insane.
tokens live.
It's probably like
yeah.
a 6/6 for like,
sometimes it's
and
a
you're casting it on
7-mana
like turn
1/1.
5.
And it could be a 7-mana 1/1.
I am imagining this kind of card in the Dan Stella board Stala deck.
Oh my god,
Dan Stala deck?
it would be like a 30-30.
This
Holy
just
fuck.
breaks the board stall immediately.
It would be a 30-30. This card would be insane.
Maybe
Alright.
that's why I originally had it at B+.
Probably,
Probably.
yeah.
Give
We were
that-
thinking about your decks.
Alright, next card. Solemn Offering. 2 white and a white. For destroy target artifact or enchantment, you gain 4 life. So the only reason that this was main deckable in M14 was because sometimes you had that format like the make a 4/4 angel
Yeah.
enchantment, and it would be really good. And there was a decent amount of artifacts and enchantments that were particularly annoying in that format. In this format, almost all of the artifacts and enchantments seem awful. So this is not main deckable by any means.
This is not Theros block.
And it's not Theros block, so this card's
Naturalized
actually
effects
really
are probably not
bad.
gonna be good.
I mean, it's okay.
I do think there's enough annoying artifacts for this to sometimes
Yeah,
make
again, you're gonna cite it
your
in
deck, but
sometimes.
I do think it's a D+ and not a C-.
Yes, correct. Alright, next. Soul of Theros. 4 white for a creature avatar, 6/6, vigilance. 4 white, creatures you control gain +2/+2, first strike, and lifelink until end of turn. 4 white, exile Soul of Theros from your graveyard. Creatures you control get +2/+2, first strike, and lifelink until end of turn.
So A's across the board. You gave it an A triple+.
This card might actively be unbeatable outside of like
I think it might be.
Yeah, this is my favorite soul out of the soul cycle, and it's also just my favorite white card.
It-
I think this card.
it's-
Yeah.
I think
it's just about unbeatable outside of Devouring Light.
I like it better than a Johnny even.
it's better than I think every card in the set. I think it's
Yeah.
the best card in the set.
It's the best card in the set for limited. Like if you see this card and you're not picking it, you're wrong, 100%.
It's just its ability, right?
The
Yeah,
abi- so
Like, all the
and
souls are
it
6/6s.
stabilizes you so hard. If you like, even if this dies, and assuming your other board is like somewhat close to parity, you're swinging next turn with everything getting +2/+2 and
Yeah.
lifelink.
So
Yeah.
you're actually
Like, you're
getting
just
the
crushing
card
your
that Alex
opponent.
was talking about, right? You're getting what was it, Stir the Pride? You're actually getting Stir
Yeah.
the Pride, right?
Plus first strike.
But here's the thing. So this card, even if this was just like I played this on turn 6 after like trading some guys with my opponent, and you have no other dudes on board, it's fucking attacking, vigilance, 8/8, first strike, lifelink the next turn, right?
Yeah.
Like this card is actively retarded. So
Yeah.
insane.
I guess before we go any farther, I
It's
forgot
soul
to mention.
insane. Is that what you just said?
Soul insane.
It's got soul. This card's got soul.
This card has so much soul.
Soul bond.
It's being mended by the following.
I guess we forgot to mention too. Resolute Archangels with a white pre-release promo. If
And
you choose white at your pre-release, you
definitely
get
not-
this card.
Not choosing white, except that I want to open Soul of Theros.
The
Just as
sad
a
thing is the best
mission.
promos in I think the worst color.
Which
Yeah.
is
Well,
black.
that's balanced, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Next card, Soul Mender. 1 white for 1/1 human cleric that has tap, gain 1 life.
It's a reprint as well.
Yeah, this card's not good. It doesn't even have a good ability.
It
It's a
combo
trap.
combos so well with that cat.
A
You
Johnny's
go
Pride
turn
Mate.
1
Yeah.
Soul Mender, turn 2.
That's a Travis Wu deck.
That is
It
true.
is.
We're
It
building,
exists.
we're building Soul Sisters in draft.
In draft,
All
yeah.
in.
But this card's not playable. We gave it Fs and still gave it a D minus.
I want it in my deck. I feel sorry for this guy.
Next card,
You
Spectre.
could- Yeah. Here we go. The aura
Spectre
we've all
Ward.
been waiting for.
Yes!
3 white. Enchantment aura. Enchant creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from all colors. This effect doesn't remove auras.
So, would I pay 7 mana for a 6/6 pro all colors? The answer to that question is yes.
With the Boon Weaver Giant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a rare though.
I know,
You have
so
to have opened this card.
you'd open this card
Yeah.
first, and then you would pick
Card, you
Bone
open
Weaver
it.
Giant
Every
later.
Bone Reaver Giant you see later.
Yeah,
Can't
this
let
is
someone else-
an example of them pushing an aura enough to you actually want to play an aura in your deck.
Important note
I mean-
is that while it doesn't remove other auras, you can't cast more auras targeting that creature anymore.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you.
Has to be the final.
I like how it
Yeah,
defines
I know.
what colors mean by listing the colors.
Thank you, level 1 Judge Joe Steed.
Hey, I'm a level 2.
Nope.
not in here.
Not in here.
Not in our apartment. You get -1 level.
Hey, I'm a level 3 burglar apparently since I walked in and used the bathroom and nobody noticed me.
But yeah, we gave this B's, B pluses. This is a card you slam. It protects the creature, so it's the normal downside of an aura doesn't exist.
Exactly, it's very powerful. Next card is probably one of the forerunners for things that may see play in Constructed. Spirit Bonds, 1 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay an extra white. If you do, put a 1/1 white spirit token into play with flying. And then the extra ability is 1 and a white, sacrifice a spirit. Target non-spirit creature gains indestructibility until end of turn. So this card, in a slow format, is probably really good against control decks and really good against black decks. Like, I would want to play this in like a green-white deck versus like the mono-black deck. Like, if you're waiting on 1 extra turn and you're getting value by making an extra guy every single time, and then on top of that, if they don't have the removal for your better guy, you get to like sacrifice your spirit and protect your dude. Like, this card's pretty insane.
Said TD.
Wow.
Yeah, this card's really good, and it was also designed by Justin Gary of Gary Games, right?
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. So this card's very good. In limited, it's probably good. It just adds value to every guy that you play, right? It's probably very, very
It
good.
seems unbeatable on turn 2.
Yeah, we all gave it A's. You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably good.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like I can't imagine this card being beatable ever, because if you just play everything 1 off curve, you get an extra guy. It's actually
Yeah.
pretty dumb.
The only reason I didn't give
And
it
you
a
know what
straight
the
A.
spirits do? They help you convoke.
Ooh, you're right.
Oh.
You're right.
Oh man,
Convoke,
you can
guys.
convoke out on like turn 7. You can just drop that thing for free and make them all 3/3s. Obelisk of.
Oh, Obelisk of Erd.
Obelisk of Bird.
Obelisk of Birds. All right.
No, they're spirits, they're not birds.
Next.
This is my friend's bird deck.
Sungrace. Again, I guess we should go back. Constructed playability, maybe, on this card.
It's pretty high, I think.
Could be like a deck build around type card.
It's like, here's the thing. So all of these like any 2 mana enchantment is pushed, because think about like Rest in Peace. Think about
Pyromancer Ascension.
Pyromancer
things like that.
Ascension. Yeah, all those kind of cards are very pushed. Like Waste Not, we're going to talk about later, might be very good. It could be very bad. It could be not playable in this format in Standard, but it could be insane in, Modern or Legacy with Liliana. Like, there's a lot of different things, but 2 mana auras are pushed. Like, all the 2 mana hate auras, like RIP, like Rest in Peace, the artifact one, whatever that one is.
Yeah, but
Stony Silence.
this isn't like a sideboard card. This is like a build around card.
Oh, I agree. What I'm saying
it's like
is
Birthing Pod. This is like a card you build around.
I agree, but what I'm saying is like 2 mana auras are very pushed, right?
Also
like
really good against control decks.
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Insane against control decks.
All right, next guy is Sungrace Pegasus, 1 and a white for a 1/2 creature Pegasus, flying in lifelink.
It's
You gave
not very
this probably less than average, right? Yeah, sees these. It's just fails the vanilla test, and then
like I don't want
the
to be
flying in
playing,
lifelink doesn't make up for it.
like it's like that one cat that was like a 1/1
Trained Garruk.
trained
The
Caracal.
yeah.
That card was awful.
Lifelink on a 1 power guy, not useful.
This isn't a Caracal though. It loses massive value from not being Caracal.
You're right. So it's extra bad. Oh man, we've almost gotten to my favorite card. We're gonna keep
Is it
going.
Tireless
though.
Mercenaries?
No, it's not.
Alright.
And they're
Okay,
missionaries. They're
sure.
not
Well,
mercenaries.
let's tirelessly move on then. 4 and a white for a 2/3 human cleric. When it enters the battlefield, gain 3 life. It's pretty overpriced, I think.
Yeah,
last card.
I don't know why
would-
this card exists.
Yeah.
I would actively never play a Riot Devils for 5 because gaining 3 life at that point is awful.
With a healing salve attached, yeah, not worth it.
Not worth.
None of us felt mean enough to give it an F though.
No.
I
It's
mean,
like, you could sideboard this in against an aggressive deck or something, right?
maybe.
When you're dead by turn 5, yeah, you're right.
Well, it helps you stabilize maybe if you have another
I mean,
interaction.
D- is like the highest level of unplayability outside of F, straight F, because it's not a straight F because it's not actually actively the worst. But so this next card could be insane in this format and could be not insane in this format, but it's Triplicate Spirits. 4 white for a spell with Convoke that puts 3 1/1 white creatures onto the battlefield with flying. So this is very similar to that Spectral Possession, right? But instead of being able to pay half the cost but have it be all colored mana, you can instead convoke it with the creatures that you already have in play. It's very good. I mean, it's 3 power flying for 6 mana. So how often would you want to pay 6 mana for a 3/3 flying? Not that often. But what if it was a 3/3 flying that just had convoke? That would be pretty good.
So how good was Spectral Possession in Limited still?
Very.
Very good.
Like insane, right?
Yeah,
And
this
this
very, very,
this
very
has
good.
got to be the same.
It's got to be very similar. So I would have to rate it pretty high, right? So what do we all rate this? B minus.
B minus B, C plus. It's probably better than a C plus.
That's
Yeah,
C plus
I'm
is
actually hedging a little bit with my B minus. I think this will end up being a B or a B plus, honestly.
Yep. Next,
This might be the common that you slam over some rares.
Ooh, it is a common, yeah.
it
that's
is a
pretty-
common.
pretty
It's
good.
insane. So next one, Wall of Essence. 1 and a white for a creature wall that is a 0/4. Whenever it is dealt combat damage, you gain that much life. I mean, the card is good against aggressive decks, right? So this might be one of those important cards that's in that like blue-white Blevins control deck.
Yeah, like unlike a 0/4 wall normally, like aggressive decks don't want to attack into this
Right.
because of the ability.
Right.
So I think it's definitely like a good sideboard card, definitely. And
Right, I
maybe
put it-
main deckable.
Yeah, main deckable is questionable unless you're
Depending on your
removing
deck.
creatures,
Depending
right?
on your deck.
Yeah,
if you're
right.
slow.
I mean, I've main decked Angelic Wall plenty of times, so I could see main decking this.
Yeah. So next, this is where we're at. My favorite card of this
Very
set. I'm so excited. Warden of the Beyond. 2 and a white for a 2/2 vigilant human wizard. Whenever Warden of the Beyond gets +2/+2 as long as an opponent owns an exiled card. So the number of drafts that I'm going to go Devouring Light into Warden of the Beyond is going to be a high number because I'm going to pick this card much higher than you should because I like the card so much. Because sometimes this is a 4/4 vigilance for 3. I mean, that's pretty good, right?
That's insane, but I don't think that's going to happen, like, ever.
And what about Legacy? Forcible.
Oh, you're right.
They're both like they're both uncommons is the problem.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I'm trying to imagine how often
and
you're
the
gonna get the
other-
ability.
Yeah.
Probably not very often. Right?
No, I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Like I'm actually being generous with a C plus. And like you gave it that as well. I think this is like a C.
I like this card so much.
Because when I gave it a C plus, I did not realize Devouring Light was not common.
Yeah, but the other card's common. The one the 4 toughness card. That one's common for exiling.
I think you kind of have
That
to ignore
exiles?
the ability
Yeah, it
roll
exiles.
when you're evaluating this card.
Pillar of Light exiles.
I
The
guess
4
that's
toughness
important.
one.
I thought it just destroyed it.
Nope. Pillar of Light exiles.
Yeah, it exiles.
So that's why this card is very much more turn onable.
Yeah, you got me. It's a little better.
I guess we'll have to see in the other colors too if there's anything that exiles.
Plus, if you banish your sliver, there's
Pow.
an exile.
Pow.
True.
Pow.
True.
All right.
That's not our.
Let's actually actively try to get through the blue.
All right, Tear Spells, my favorite.
Yes, we love some tear
Cry
spells.
mages.
We're all done with
Cry
the
mages are the best.
Cry mages. No, Sunny Skull mages.
First, we have Aeronaut Tinkerer, 2 and a white for a 2/3 human artificer. Has flying as long as you control an artifact. So, right, Devils with upside. I guess we haven't really gone over the artifacts, but there is like a sub artifact theme in this set.
There's a lot of them.
It's actually not that bad. So
You could see turning this on a reasonable amount of the time.
Yes, I think often.
Yeah, so better than C, you think? You gave it a C plus. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to end up, just because a lot of the artifacts aren't very good. So
Yeah, like a 2/3 flying for 3 is very good. So
yeah, I'm not sure if that might be a B minus, but it would only be if it was
In the
always
right-
on. Like
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely a C plus. So that's fine.
yeah.
All right, Aether Spout. This card is the literal nut.
Yep.
3 blue for an instant, and it says for each attacking creature, its owner puts it on the top or bottom of his or her library. So this is like one of those like wraths that you just like can't come back from. Like if they're
it's not
just,
a wrath.
but it's kind of a wrath because
It is essentially Wrath.
it's very essentially a wrath.
No, they have to be attacking.
That's fine. Like the fact that you're either bottoming or topping their draw steps from that time forward, right? Like if they want to keep the creatures they've drawn and like hopefully not draw infinite lands, then they're putting them back on top of their library, so like any of their good creatures. And then if they're like bottoming all their shitty creatures, like it's very good. This card is,
This card is Aetherize.
but way better.
The
No,
different-
this is much better. than
Way
Wrath.
better. Are you
Yeah.
insane? This card is infinitely better.
Then Aetherize?
Way better than Aetherize.
Yeah,
Difference
Why is it
between,
better
like,
than Aetherize?
Because you're
Because you
killing.
put it on the top or bottom?
Yeah.
yeah, because you're killing their draw stats.
If you're killing their draw step, you're not just letting them play them over
They're
again.
gonna put their bad creatures on the bottom though.
And they're gonna
No.
put the same creatures
And
that
they're
they've already
put-
played on the top.
They're gonna put
So
one
you
good
just
creature
killed,
on top.
You killed
One or
all of
two
their
good
bad
creatures.
creatures, and then made them blank like
Yeah.
2 draw stats because
Yeah,
they
but-
want to keep their good creatures.
I guess it comes down to how relevant are those bad creatures anyway.
Sometimes they can be
Well, I mean,
If
if
they're
they attack
attacking,
you, they had to
maybe
be relevant.
So
Again, though, that's really. I think this card is really situational.
I do too,
Card's
which is
very
why it's
good.
not an A.
Yeah.
But
I hated
Because at worst,
Aetherize.
at worst, this card is like put your opponent's 2/2 on the bottom of their library for 5
Yeah.
mana, which is awful. But at best, it's literally Plague Wind.
I guess.
They're not coming back from that.
In how many situations would you rather have Grip Tide than this card?
not that many.
Like,
Yeah, I
think,
don't
think
think-
about it.
It's almost never better. It's almost never.
There's
it-
times when you don't want to target. You only want to target one thing.
How-
you
how
you
is-
wanna
how-
actually trade?
No. When would you want to do that in comparison to putting both of the creatures on the top or bottom of their library?
When you want to trade with something,
But why would you want to trade if you can just put it on the top or bottom of their library?
because maybe you don't want them. I mean, it has come to play ability that you want them to trigger. You know, there are like corner case situations.
But they also
or
have to
something like that.
draw it again, right? Like the thing is, like
Yeah.
this is much different.
I
Like
mean, this is gonna be a blowout sometimes.
this card's gonna be better than Griptide every time.
I don't think so.
There's no situation where this isn't better than Griptide.
if they have
Yeah,
one
you
blocker
could-
and you Grip Tide to get in for lethal damage, it's better.
Sure. But we're talking about with the specifics of this card in mind, right? The specifics of the attacking situation.
That's the thing, though. It has the situational clause of attacking creatures. So I think this is worse. Than,
Card's very good. I think you're wrong. I think you're gonna get blown out by this card way more than you want to. Card's very good.
Another thing, 5 mana is pretty obvious that they have, you know, that they have it up. You can play around
So
it.
the trick is you have the blue soul
Like
out,
a-
so you're just trying to draw a card.
Like a Divine Verdict, right? In that kind of sense, where you can kind of play around it.
Kind of, but I mean, still not that good.
5 mana is
Only
a
it
lot.
had
If
convert.
they're not attacking, then you're still.
If it had Convoke, yeah.
If they're not attacking, they're not attacking, man. That's what it is. But anyway, next card. I think it's better than you think it is, but we'll see. It's also a rare, so you're not going to get to draft it that much.
That's true. It's a rare, yeah.
So, we'll see. Next card, M15 Pathmage. 3 blue for a Salamander Wizard who is a 3/2, so his stats are pretty decent. And he gets has an ability that target creature can't be blocked this turn by paying 2 and a blue. This card's very good. It's like aggressive in the tempo format that this is. So I think it's
It can be mana intensive, but the fact that late game you can give multiple creatures unblockable, it's
very
pretty good. I like this card a lot.
Card's very good.
And
Yeah,
we
you like
gave
it more
we
than
gave
me,
it
right?
like
You
I gave it a
gave it
B
a B.
minus. You gave it a C plus. Yeah.
Yeah, a 3/2 for 4 seems kind of poopy. It's also like
Yeah. It's not Blade Tusk Boar, so I mean it is mana intensive.
it also like there's a large amount of evasion built into blue naturally with the flying that he might help close the game out. But I think a lot of time you're just playing a 3/2 for 4.
But if
I
you're-
guess I'm just imagining the upside of having this guy late game and activating it like 2
yeah,
to
I don't
3
know how often
times.
that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But in the
In a board Stala, it's
in a
pretty good.
board stall,
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
mean,
good,
that's
and
probably
also
insane, yeah.
also it like pushes through, like if you're playing everyone's favorite Theros archetype, blue green, and you get to push through some really fat guys. It's pretty good. What if you get to push through the 7/2? Holy shit! It's fucking.
Chasm Skulker.
I was
Play-
excited about that. but
2
yeah.
and a white.
I'm
or
playing
2
this.
and a blue.
I'm playing this
Sorry.
in constructed.
2 and a blue for a 1/1 Squid Horror. When you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Chasm Skulker. When it dies, put X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk onto the battlefield, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Chasm Stalker.
This card
So-
is so sweet.
When I first thought about this guy, it's like, well, you have to play him on turn 3 for him to like grow big. But then when I thought about him again, I'm like, this card's Pack Rat. This is like the Pack Rat of the set, right? They have to use a removal spell on him when you play him, or else it's gonna get a lot worse for them, right?
A lot worse. It just gets
Yeah.
exponentially worse.
Yeah,
kind of.
because it has like pseudo undying,
Yeah.
and
So-
it's going to grow
This card's probably
no matter what.
probably an A.
It could grow multiple times a turn if you play like
Jace's Ingenuity.
yeah.
Yeah. We both
Boom.
Alex and I gave it A minus.
We gave it A minus. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely A
I
minus.
started out with like a B range, but then I'm like, man, this is like Pack Rat. It's like a must answer on when you play it.
This
I
card.
had it at an A.
I mean,
but
if
it's
you
a little
turn
slow.
3 that
It was
into
a little
turn
faster.
4 divination, it's already a 4/4.
So this card's very good. Now, the thing is, this card in standard, in the control mirror, you just play it, and you draw like Sphinx's Revelation. It's huge by itself,
And then they O-ring it.
and
Yeah,
then.
that's the thing. They can O-ring her.
Then it
easier.
O-ring.
But
That's
it doesn't
why I
matter
O-ring
because
it.
then you're gonna planar cleansing them anyway, and you get your dude back.
We don't
And
even
you
know what standard's gonna look
Sphinx's
like.
Revelation again.
We don't know what post-rotation standard's gonna look like, but in current standard, it's just gonna O-ring.
Yeah.
Or
It's gonna get planar cleansing. It's gonna get planar cleansing.
Next
Totally
card.
fine.
Standard, Alex. There is no O-ring. Come on, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You got me.
All
You
right.
got me.
All right, next card. This
The
card's
Chief
bad.
Engineer, 1 and a white for a 1/3 Vidalcan Artificer. Artifact spells you cast have
Wait.
Convoke.
Why do you keep saying white?
It's blue. I didn't mean that. It's blue. It's
All right.
definitely blue.
So this card's definitely like a brew around me card for standard. It's awful and limited. You're playing a 1/3 and it doesn't have Scry 2, and it's bad. So don't play this card.
Basically a vanilla 1/3 for 2. Yeah.
No
That's
1/3s are playable
No,
for 2.
no,
What?
It's,
no,
Get out.
no. If they don't
That's
have
fine.
they don't have Scry 2 on them, they're infinitely worse. And I don't even like playing that
No,
card.
There's a ton of 2/3s and bears in this format. It blocks all of them. There's lots of X ones.
Nope.
I played a lot of 1/3s in my control decks with no abilities, but this guy's a rare, so
I don't want to pick that. I don't want to pick that card unless it's the last pick.
it's pretty shit rare.
Next card. This card is pretty good. So if you want to talk about Griptide, this is the card that you could compare to Griptide.
Well, it is basically Griptide.
It's Chrono Stutter. 5 and a blue for an instant. I almost said white because Bianchi keeps saying white.
Yeah, we're on blue now. We're on blue
Every card-
now.
every card
Put
is
target
white.
creature into its owner's library, second from the top. So this is awesome because it goes a little deeper than Griptide. It's not just like the first card. So when Alex was talking about like, oh, I don't want them to have like the come into play ability like again like the next turn, this puts it like 2 below, right?
Yeah,
So
it's probably not worth the extra 2 mana. So
I agree. It's worse than Griptide a little bit, but it's still very good.
Right.
I think this card's good.
And it's a common. I think this is it's good. 6 is a lot though.
Yeah, but it's like on the level of tempo that it is, it's pretty good. So I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't put it this very high. So his C+ is even high for me. I would say C.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask. You guys need to grade.
No, I would give this a C+ because it is still removal-ish, right? It's still removal. It is removal. So I think you're gonna pick this. First, pick this sometimes if the pack's not very good.
The pack is awful, yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I could go that deep.
If the pack's not good, you don't think so?
That's pretty
If
deep.
the pack's not good, there's gotta be another
I think
common
this
that's
is.
better
I think
than-
this is like better than most average creatures.
I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff, like a lot of good creatures at common that I think I picked.
Also,
over this.
also I favor blue more than anything else. So
that's
that too,
fair.
That too. Next is Coral Barrier, 2 and a blue for a 1/3 wall. Defender. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 blue squid creature token with Island Walk on the battlefield.
See, so this card.
It's a Tended Knight for squids.
Almost.
Yeah, it is.
It's that other thing. It's the airy worshipper, right? The 1/2 that makes a 1/1 flyer.
That's Seller
Seller
Songbirds.
Songbirds.
Seller Songbirds.
Yeah, it is Seller Songbirds. Yeah.
So it's more like that. This card's actually fine. The fact that I would actively play this before I play that vanilla 1/3 for 2. So the whole
Yeah, obviously, but they're
So-
different cards.
So it's
It's a wall, so it dies to that red promo.
No. Coral why?
The
All
two
right.
separate bodies aren't great. Island Walk's not relevant most of the time.
But every mage
So,
plays blue, man.
I would say this is like a C minus.
Every mage is a tier mage.
You gave this
Yeah,
a
yeah,
C.
C.
You give this a C.
Yeah.
Card's fine.
C minus. Next, Diffusion Sliver, 1 and a blue for a 1/1 sliver. Whenever a sliver creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless they pay 2.
This might make slivers playable in standard.
But it's completely unplayable and limited. Unless maybe you have like 2 of the white slivers. It's the only time I
Right.
could ever see thinking about playing this card.
The ability is really not.
I agree.
It's not even like a great defensive ability, but it's Frost Titan ability.
Yeah.
So
Also,
I don't
can
wanna
someone
play this
explain to
guy.
me why this sliver has massive hips?
And hands
Why?
and stuff.
And no,
Diffusing.
no hooks.
It's diffusing.
It's like a third version of slivers that Wizards is trying to make, right?
Yeah,
It's like
It looks very
first
female.
there are the hook slivers, the hook slivers, and then the the predator slivers, and now there's like a Draenei sliver. Like it's like a Draenei.
That was a drain
What?
eye.
It's a
Wow.
WoW term.
Oh, okay.
Next card is Dissipate. 1 blue for an instant. Counter target spell. If it was countered this way, exile. Instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. It's obviously a reprint of a number of times. This card is basically the equivalent of Cancel, except
With upside.
of Warden of the Beyond.
Mm.
Because you can exile their spell and make him a 4/4 vigilance.
Yeah.
Also,
I would-
Savages is against the souls because they can't exile. them
True,
unless
they
go
can't
to
use
the
the
Ooh,
abilities.
it's very good against the souls.
I always put cancel as like a C. I think this is just a C. The upside isn't good enough.
Agreed. I agreed.
I gave it a C.
Yeah. Next card, Divination, 2 and a blue to draw 2 as a sorcery.
Divination type cards always have a little bit of scaling in this type of in the formats like
How
this.
fast the format is.
How fast the format is because
Yeah.
Opportunity and Divination both were actively insane in M14, right? You wanted both of those cards in your blue Elixir of Immortality deck every time, right? So cards are very good. So
Yeah.
we'll see how good this card is, but I agree with just a regular C rating.
Right,
for
we're
the
giving it
time
an
being,
average.
I'm
and
leaning
then
more
go.
towards this being close to how it was in Born of the Gods.
which is not that good.
Yeah.
Even though you said this format's slow.
Well, somewhere in between. I don't think, but I think it'll end up being more towards that because it was still fine in Theros. Block.
Sometimes.
Eh.
Sometimes it just died.
It was okay.
And Theros block as a whole, not like
Yeah,
Theros
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
Encrust.
is Encrust. 1 blue aura. Enchant artifact or creature. Enchanted permanent doesn't untap during its controller's untapped step and can't activate its activated abilities. So it's like claustrophobia is the card,
Kind of, but it doesn't tap it.
but it
doesn't
doesn't
have a tap
actually
trigger.
tap it, right?
What was that 3-mana squid thing that grabbed the guy in RTR? Is that RTR? What's that card called?
Squid thing.
Tide
This
Well,
is
the
the
picture
squid
was
set.
like a squid thing grabbing something.
I mean claustrophobia.
What do you mean by grabs a guy?
Pretty sure you mean
It's
claustrophobia.
the artwork. I mean the artwork.
the artwork.
Claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia taps the thing. It's this card, but it costs 1 less blue, and 3. It's still 3 mana.
Ice Cage?
No, it's not
Nah.
Ice Cage.
Whatever. So
Yeah.
this card's okay.
Oh,
The fact that it
yeah.
doesn't actually tap the creature makes it worse. But it's still a 3-mana removal spell. It's not bad.
So in Soul Artifacts, 1 in a blue
Oh.
for an aura.
Also, you can put this on their Darksteel Citadel. It's Stone Rain.
You're right, Stone Rain.
I have to say, and Crust was actually peened because of Sands of Delirium, which isn't in this set.
Mm.
That's good news.
There's a much worse version in this set. In
It
Soul,
is
in
true.
Soul Artifact is 1 in a blue, an aura. That enchanted artifact is a creature with base power and toughness, which is a new term for M15 and going forward. 5/5 in addition to its other types. So it just turns any artifact into a 5/5, and then the reason it says base power and toughness is if you enchant a creature, like an artifact creature, it also just becomes a 5/5, even if it originally was a 3/3 or a 1/1 or whatever.
Or a 6/6 that you need to make marginally smaller.
For whatever reason.
Also, I like how they chose scissors to be the artifact that they've ensouled.
Yeah.
My roommate
Just
wants-
scissors.
No, my roommate wants to
Could
get
have
a
been
kill
any magical item. It's just scissors.
You realize since Meteorite is in this format, you can turn a rock into scissors, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Is
Oh,
there a
man.
paper in this format too?
You can turn hot soup into a 5/5. Ooh.
Ooh. Right.
To make
All
that
right.
creature not unblockable anymore.
Next.
What did you give this? A D plus? Yeah,
And, and guys, magic cards are made of paper, so we're turning a paper rock into
scissors beats paper. Scissors beat paper. Unless your opponent's playing green black.
Does the world explode if we do that?
I don't know. So next card.
Frost Links, 2 in a blue for a 2/2 elemental cat. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. This card is absurd to me. This is like,
Yeah, this is insane in an aggro deck.
yeah.
It's hook. If people who played Zendikar, Hookmaster was the actual nut.
Did that like tap a creature and keep it tapped too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I have to say this has got to be like a
It
B
was this card in
minus.
white.
I
Hookmaster
compared to
was
this to
exactly-
Ether Adept, and this is like way better than Ether Adept, right?
I mean, you just compare it to anything that does that exact ability, but the fact that it's like permanent,
There's not that many things that do that. Like,
Yeah.
this is a very good ability on a
it
creature.
is. It is Frost Breath though. It's next untap step, so it's
On
only
a
one.
2/2.
I know.
Oh yeah. Only the next on tap.
So it's
step.
not
That's
forever.
True. That's true. Yeah. Still, it's a
It's very good.
temporary card in like the blue-white deck we were talking about. It's
Yep.
gonna be great.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely like B
Like-
minus B range. What did you give it? C plus.
I give it a C plus just because I don't know if every deck's gonna want it, but I do agree that
Yeah.
it might be a B.
Obviously worse than a control deck.
Yeah. It's probably bad in a control deck.
Bad,
which is
yeah,
why I
actively
couldn't give it
bad.
a B. But
Fugitive Wizard, the only person who could ever play this card in Constructed, John Jividen. So shout outs to John Jividen
Vanilla one
why
for one.
Why did that happen?
because he played a Wizards deck and he needed more Wizards, man.
There's a patron wizard deck. But vanilla 1 for one. You gave an F. I would give it an F.
Yep, it's
Don't,
a straight
don't
up
play, don't play 1/1s for one.
that don't have any abilities, actual no abilities.
Next card, Glacial Crasher. 4 blue for a 5/5 elemental with trample. Can't attack unless there's a mountain on the battlefield. That's pretty funny.
This card's bad. This card would be really good if it weren't for the downside being so down.
This is a sideboard card.
yes, but it's
Even-
really good.
Even then,
Once,
yeah,
though. How do you get through a 5/5 trample that's sitting back?
you melt it.
You
Look at the picture. If you melted that thing, it'd just
Yeah.
die. It'd be
Yeah,
a
why
puddle.
does it not just die instantly if it gets hit with Stoke and Flames?
Flavor?
Yeah.
Flavor rules. It does.
so
Alright.
so C minus is very aggressive because this card could be actively
Yeah,
awful.
I'd say D range because it's not main deckable. I
That's
think.
fine. I think it's main deckable, but that's fine. I think you play this in the blue-red deck. You get a 5/5
Oh
trample.
yeah, your own mountain.
Yes.
That's true.
In
I didn't
the
think
blue-
about that.
In the blue red deck, it's
Yeah.
very
You
good.
could have mountains.
I'm playing this card every time now that I think about it.
Yep.
All of my decks.
So this is a windmill slam
all
for
of my
Alex
decks-
Bianchi.
All of my decks have one Glacial Crasher,
This is
maybe 3.
Actually, an actually
Alright.
windmill slam for Alex Bianchi.
Next card's Hydro Surge. A blue instant. Target creature gets -5/-0 till end of turn.
Card's always been bad every time.
Yeah, it's never good.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of Lost in the Labyrinths.
Ugh, I've never had that card in a deck.
That's Scryed.
I've played a lot.
That's Scryed.
I've played a lot Lost in the Labyrinths.
That card scries.
As combat tricks.
That card
bad combat
scries.
tricks.
That card scries. This card does
That's not why I played it.
But you also play it because it scries.
That's not why I played it.
But it's also why you play it. It's why it's more playable than this
But
card.
I would agree with your rating of D, Stella.
Or F. And
Next card.
Or have.
this card is very good.
Yeah, I don't know how to
Illusory
grade it.
Angel. This is a reprint, right?
It's from Plane Chase.
Oh, it's from Plane Chase.
It's not
okay.
actually a reprint.
2 and a blue for a 4/4 Flying Angel Illusion. Can only cast it if you cast another spell this turn.
But it's a 4/4.
The number of times I hope that I go Void Snare into this card.
I mean,
Yeah.
this isn't a 3-drop in limited. This is a 5 or 6 drop, right?
Which is still
You
fine.
don't need to have a 2-drop. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, it's good.
Which is still good, yeah. I think this is probably C+. Would you give it?
I gave it a B-.
Oh, wow.
But, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know how aggressive you want to be. But yeah, like, I could see Void Snare into this card being very real. I could also see, like,
Yeah.
you casting a Welcome turn late. with
If
this
you play,
card.
like, two of these on turn 6, that'd just be absurd.
Oh my god.
So you can't really do that.
Alright, next card.
Into the Void. 3 and a blue sorcery. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands.
Steve, go open the door. It's fucking hot.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Why would you close it?
Did I?
Yes.
Steve thinks that we're glacial crashers and he's trying to melt us.
Is he the mountain?
You see the
You
mountain.
guys attack.
So this is unfortunately a sorcery.
This is a reprint. This was an Avacyn
Yeah,
Restored.
this is from AVR, and it was actually insane in AVR.
Card's
It was
very
a
good.
Slam a Jam first pick.
Yeah,
in AVR.
I remember never seeing this card because everyone would
Yeah.
pick it really highly.
Yep.
So I never actually.
Oh
played
my
this card.
god. Whoever Chumpster9 is so correct. And he doesn't mean Ornithark. He means Ornithopter.
Yeah.
Turn 3 Ornithopter into Illusory
I mean-
Angel.
If you cast turn 3 Ornithark and Angel on turn 3, that'd be a good turn too.
Wow, Ornithark plus Angel would be insane. Dude, that would be 9 power on turn 3.
You gotta
Woo!
think big.
Gotta think big, you're right. Yo, Chumpster's thinking big. Yeah,
Into the Void,
is
give it a
very
B+.
good.
I'd give it a B.
It's very good.
It seems really good, yeah.
It's really good. Card is very aggressively tempo-y.
It's one of those tempo plays, yeah. Even though it's not an instant.
Invisibility is a terrible aura. It's not a C-. It's probably a D.
Can't be blocked except by walls. 2 mana aura.
Why
Yeah,
did I
this
give
is
that
this is an F.
What am I doing?
This is straight up
This
an F.
is a
in
D-,
my book.
possibly F.
See, you gave it a C-. That's aggressive.
Yeah, that's what I just, that one slipped from my
Yeah,
head.
D-, maybe F. Alright, next card. Jace, the Living Guild Pact. 2 and a blue. And a blue. For,
And a blue, and a blue.
Yep. So 2 blue for a Planeswalker Jace. So off the 5th Jace, right? And he comes in with 5 loyalty. He has +1 bad scry, which is look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your graveyard. So you have to keep 1 card if they're both bad.
You have to pitch one if they're both good.
And you have to pitch one if they're both good. Second ability is -3, return another non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So you could return something of yours or bounce one of their dudes. And then -8, each player shuffles his or her hand into the graveyard into his or her library, and then you draw 7 cards. So it is a control deck killer, 100%. So let's go limited first, really quick. Card is a Planeswalker. It's very hard to kill if it comes down on turn 4 after any other creature. And drawing 7 and having your opponent
Mind
discard,
twisting your opponent. Yeah.
right? Discard 7 probably wins you the game. But the other things are actively not that good in limited. The bounce for 4 mana bounce, still have a Planeswalker in play is probably fine.
Yeah.
But
It's a lot worse than the other Jaces in limited,
correct, because it doesn't just win you the game on the spot or gain you massive card
but
advantage.
it's still Planeswalker. So.
It's still a Planeswalker, and it comes in with a massive amount
We have
of
to give it
loyalty.
like at least a B+. I think you gave it a B+.
Plus,
so.
correct. Of all the limited Planeswalkers, this one's probably like one of the lower ones, but the ultimate still wins you the game, so it's actually not that bad. Now, in standard, or constructed in general, this card is really sweet in the control mirror. Everywhere else, it's really bad.
Control mirror. I mean, this isn't a control deck card though.
It's
Compared
not.
to the other
Yeah,
Jaces,
it's weird.
you normally think of Jace as a control card, but this is like an aggro card. I see it as an aggro card.
Really?
Yeah.
So mono blue plays this card, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
mono blue. It's like
Yeah, LSV's article, he wrote kind of extensively about it already being in mono blue.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, the first ability is between, like, Scry 1 and Scry 2, right?
Right.
Somewhere in between those two. So, you know, it's okay. It's probably, like, three quarters of draw card. Not quite draw card.
Right.
But, yeah, I think the second ability is going to make it pretty good in, like, the mono blue deck.
Could be. Alright, next card. I recently played this in Modern. Jace's Ingenuity. 3 blue for an instant that says draw 3 cards. I want you to know, in Limited, this is probably good if the format is anything like M14.
14, yeah.
Because
Opportunity
Opportunity was probably
Right.
the best card in the entire set. However, I would recommend that you never play this in Modern unless you actively want to kill yourself every round. Because every time it was in my hand, actively wanted to kill myself.
So you give this a B, Stella? That seems high to me, but I guess we'll have to see how the format shapes up first. Because I think it could be as low as like a C+,
Yeah.
depending on the format. But yeah, it's definitely pretty good though.
But I would recommend never playing it
Just-
in Modern
You're just like refilling your hand in a control deck.
because I wanted to kill myself.
Next card, Jalira, Master Polymorphist. 3 in a blue for a 2/2 human wizard. It's a legendary. And you can pay 2 in a blue and tap it, sacrifice another creature
What was the white one of this?
to reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legend. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
So, oh, you know what? This is actually the only time that I want Steet.
This is Polymorph, right? On a stick.
Sort of only
Polymorph
for
on a
you.
stick. Only
So-
for you. Okay.
Right. So here's the thing. So is this card good? It depends on how good the cards in your deck are, right?
Yeah, if you have some way to generate non-important creatures or threaten their creatures all the time over to your side, like that's a really powerful play. If you go like active treason swing.
Yeah, I don't.
Look, it's now a potato for me.
I don't.
Yes.
I guess this is okay against removal, right? Like if they try to kill your creature, you activate it in response.
Yeah.
But I don't really see this card as being that good at limited.
I agree.
No,
It's not
I
very
think,
good in
I think
limited.
she's really bad.
It's really
Yeah.
bad.
Right.
So
I think
I
she's
would
like
probably
a-
rate this as like a C- or D. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm a little high on a C.
Yeah, I would
So-
say D+.
here's
It
hold
can do
on.
cool things. That's why I want to make it a C. But I just
Alright.
This is the only time I want to get advice from Steet. How good is this card in Commander?
Oh wait, who cares?
It's okay in Commander.
Okay,
Alright,
a lot of
done.
people
The
probably care.
non-legendary thing's not very good.
Done. Next.
What were you saying, Stella?
about what?
How good is Avacyn
The
in Commander?
Polymorphist?
Which Avacyn?
The new one.
I don't know. I don't like.
Mm.
Not very
I
good.
think it's kind of bad. I
Yeah.
think I'm a little high on a C.
Alright. Next is the Jerubai Merklurker?
This card is
Merklurker?
Marklar.
Merklurker.
You tried to Marklar. You're Marklar.
Oh my god, Merklurker.
2 and a blue for 1/3 leech. Gets +1/+1 as long as you control a swamp, and you can pay 1 and a black to give target creature lifelink until end of turn.
This card is powerful. It
Yeah,
is a
very,
2/4
very good.
for 3 with lifelink for a very cheap activation and gives other
Also
dudes
passes the
lifelink.
lifelink around. That's incredibly relevant. Like if you have like
Yeah.
a big champion, that's not.
Why is Buster Bluth on your review?
Oh. Because there's a bird on my pillow.
I was trying to type that joke in the chat. Too fast.
But yeah, this card's awesome in blue-black. Yeah, I think this card's a little worse if you're not black, like compared to maybe
Correct.
the other cards in the cycle.
I agree, but I mean, you actively want to be in the color
Yeah.
of the activation.
You gave it a B, Stella, just because you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Card-
yeah.
you can splash for that with blue if you are already in black and be incredibly happy.
But it's not
Yeah.
It's not great on the splash because you have to swamp and play.
No,
Alright.
Well,
not
well,
blue splashing
For the-
black.
He's
black
black
splashing
splashing
Oh, black
blue.
splashing blue.
So you just
Yeah, sure.
get enough to cast it, and then
Yeah.
everything's life linking.
Yeah, that's pretty insane in that deck.
Yeah.
So next card is Capsho Kite Fins. It's a flying fish for 4 blue. It's a 3/3 flyer. Whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature an opponent controls. So this card is just an actively high level of tempo, right? So it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Reminds me of Asperia Skywatch.
Yeah, it's very similar.
So it's pretty good. I would say it's pretty good. Because it gives you tempo the turn it comes into play, and then it gives you tempo every turn after that. Right?
It could. I mean,
Potentially.
You're casting it at 6, so you're not gonna have like
A ton of
flow of
things?
creatures after that.
That's true, but every rad creature you have
I mean-
becomes like Snarecaster, right? Which is really
The
good.
thing of
Yeah.
how savage it
It's
is
pretty
to
good.
do that into Triplicate Souls.
It is a pretty nice ability. Yeah.
Someone says, I would like to understand how it gives something else lifelink. The card literally reads, target creature gains lifelink until end
Right.
of
So you
turn.
can target another one of your
The
creatures.
flavor, though?
Oh, the flavor.
Flavor-wise?
It's.
I mean-
you think it's suction cup
It gives
on.
it gives other things, once it
It's leeching, right?
Yeah.
Except
It
it's
leech-
reverse leeching.
it
It's
re-
reverse
it-
leeching.
it leeches for them, right?
Yeah.
Like giving blood to their body out of its own mouth.
You're like, go leech, suck on that thing.
Yeah, powerful.
It does.
All right, next card. This is actually also one of my favorite cards. I really want to play this in a control deck, really, really, really bad. Like, I wanna
That flavor call.
I wanna play this card more than I want to play whatever that other stupid Sphinx is that lets you scry 3. Prog Sphinx. So Master of Predicaments, 3 blue. Sphinxes are the best creatures. It's a 4/4 flyer for 5, which is good. And then whenever Master of Predicaments deals combat damage to a player, choose a card in your hand. That player guesses whether that card's converted mana cost is greater than 4. If the player guesses wrong, you may cast the card without paying its mana cost. So what if you just go like hit them and then you haven't like even cast a spell this turn, and you're just like, this card, and they're like, it's less than 4, and they were wrong, and then you're just like, Elspeth for free.
Yeah,
Boom!
they're never gonna do that, but
When are they ever going to let you cast things greater than 4 for free? So you never pick that option unless like you somehow mind trick them into going a level too deep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's why you it's free bears or
But
something.
but what and then what if you so no
four is on the good side, so you can play 4 drops.
this is like Oracle Bones, right? It's like Oracle Bones-ish.
yeah.
Oracle of
Except
Bones.
it's actively a very good
The,
card.
Minotaur
instead of
with the
actively
free
a
spell.
knock.
Right, 4/4
But
flying for 5.
5 is
It's
way
already
better.
necessary angel or whatever.
So here's the thing. So then you do that, but then you're like this. You're like, this card, and you're like, you're like, is this like greater than 4 or not? And they're like, yes, it is. And you're like, nope, it's less than 4 because you're like, oh, free Jace, Architect of Thought. Bow,
Also,
bow,
at the
bow.
at the pre-release, if you play against this card, make sure they put the card in front of you, face down, so they don't try to scum you.
Yeah.
Make sure they like actually clearly put the card aside somehow, so to know which one it is.
I think the trick with this is everybody's always going to say it's
The
greater
below.
than 4.
Or the well,
So that you, if the player gets they're always going to say it's greater
Guess
than
wrong.
4.
Yeah,
because
they're
they
gonna say greater,
can't-
yeah,
They
yeah.
can't risk you
Right.
dropping that big of a bomb.
right.
They would rather guarantee you dropping like a mine.
This
spell
safe
down.
play is saying greater than 4.
Yeah.
All right, next card, which is just a worse
Did we
clone.
mention that that's a blue promo? So you probably
We
will have to
didn't.
play against
That
it?
is the blue. You will play against this. You're right.
Oh wait,
yeah.
Master of Predicaments is the blue
Oh,
promo.
no, it's not.
No,
it's
it's
no,
the next
that's a
card.
stupid-
Oh.
It's the next card. Stop
That's-
lying. Stop spreading lies.
I'm
Oh my
I'm
God,
lying,
Stella,
I'm
you are a
lying.
lying bastard because I would have snap picked blue every time.
Yeah,
That card's
everyone would
insane.
have picked blue. It's like Elspeth being the white promo. Jesus.
Next is Mercurial Pretender. This is the actual promo.
Yeah.
This card's good
4
though.
and a blue
It's 5 mana
for
with
a
1
0/0
bounce.
shapeshifter. It's a clone with 2 and a blue. Return this creature to its owner's
Not a
hand.
clone, sad face. It's almost-
Clones are always good in limited. I slam
Can't
clones
target your
whenever I
opponent's
see them
stuff.
in limited.
Oh, it's any creature you control. Oh,
Oh, it's
God,
only
that
your-
card's
your clone.
awful.
Oh,
That card is
Yeah.
awful.
That does make it a
that
lot
got
worse.
a lot worse.
You
That
gave
got
it an A
so
minus.
much
No, you gave it a
worse.
B plus, B minus.
Yeah, it's a B minus.
That
at
card
best.
at
It's
best.
probably C plus.
It's probably a C
honestly.
plus. Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
only
mean,
your
if you're
creatures.
copying your own Master of Predicaments, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Even
but you
if
can't-
not,
you
just 'cause
can't
can
copy
reset
theirs.
it.
Yeah.
Like
You can reset
I mean,
it. True.
You
Yeah.
play it on 5 mana to copy your 4/4 or whatever. and you can
Military
mount it, copy your soul.
intelligence.
Yeah, it also like opens you to blowouts, up to blowouts more than
Yeah, because if
than
you
clone.
have a clear bomb and they have removal and you cast it, they can just.
Or if you have anything, if you have only one creature. It's
Yeah.
just- Next card, Military Intelligence. 1 and a blue enchantment. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card.
People, that's what I'm talking about. Auras that are 2 mana are very aggressive. This card is like Bident level good. Card's super
I don't
good.
think it's Bident level good.
I think it is close. Yes.
You think it's close?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this card is very, very good. I had this, and I jumped all over my rating of this one too, but
I think it's
I would
very
first
good.
pick this card.
I would first pick this card too. Card's very good.
I think it's really good on like turns 2 through 5, but you know, past that it seems like you're gonna have to be kind of suiciding guys in to get the trigger.
Nah.
Toss all your fugitive wizards at them. It's fine.
If you're drawing a card turns 2 through 5, or I guess it'd be more like 3 through 6, didn't it already isn't that worth it?
I mean, it'd be really challenging to. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, I mean,
play
this
that
is-
on turn 3 after going 1 drop 2.
If you got a bunch of
Yeah.
like flyers and other evasive creatures, it seems really good.
Or oh my god, no, you go Ornithopter,
Triplicate.
Ornithopter, that on turn 2, and then attack.
Don't play Ornithopter.
You
don't play Ornithopter. Just don't do it.
attack with them just to draw a card.
I'd probably give this. I'd probably give it. I guess I'd give it a B minus. You gave it a B minus. Yeah.
All right. Gotta use the restroom real quick.
All right. Next we have Mind Sculpt. 1 in a blue sorcery. Target opponent puts the top 7 cards of their library into their graveyard. Mill 7.
I mean, it's really good if you go deep on them, but
Yeah, I'd give this a
Like-
D minus,
Yeah.
just because if there is a mill archetype, you're gonna be playing a lot of these.
Right.
yeah.
Well,
Mill-
there isn't, because it's just that card, right?
It's that and there's the
I
artifact.
haven't actually looked at any other mill cards in the set, but
I'm pretty sure it's just that card.
It's that and the artifact.
normally
Grinding clock. or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
Grind Clock. Yeah, but Grind Clock isn't you don't need that with Mind Sculpts and vice versa.
yeah, depending on the limited format, sometimes there is a really good mill archetype, and sometimes there isn't, because mill and
Like if
and
at the
40
pre-release
cards,
you see 4 Mind Sculpts, you'd probably
you'd have to see like 6 Mind Sculpts, I think.
I guess.
Likelihood of that is low.
Next card is Negate. 1 in a blue instant, counter target non-creature.
Yeah.
Not main deckable, probably.
Same for this. Actually, what did you guys think about it? Yeah, it's a 5-mana 3/3 flyer. It's
Nimbus
not-
of the Isles.
yeah, it's
4 in a
not
blue,
great.
3/3 flyer for 5. I'd probably give this a C. What did you give it? You gave it a C too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
an
really
average.
wrong
It's
for it.
okay.
Just an average dude. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're basically getting what you pay for there.
Yeah. These next 3 cards I think are all real good.
Paragon of Gathering Mists. Oh man, Paragon of Gathering Magic. 3 in a blue for a 2/2 human wizard. Other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. A blue and tap it. Another target blue creature you control gains fly until end of turn. Yeah, this card it's like the blue
Yeah.
anthem cycle.
Worth better.
Yeah, giving
Flying's
something-
better than
flying's really
Vigilance,
helpful.
How many blue things don't have flying though?
It.
The 5/5 for 6 with trample that needs a mountain to attack.
Yeah. How do they
That
deal with a
doesn't-
flyer that's flying over the mountain that it attacks from?
Yep. Anthem in blue seems a lot worse than in white, obviously. So I think this guy's probably a C minus ish. You gave him
See
C++.
what you can do though is if you have a bunch of creatures that aren't blue, you can polymorph his Jest yourself.
Yeah,
And then
And
attack
they all
with
get fun.
2 2s that fly. One of them does.
but then doesn't it lose the ability, the anthem
Yes,
ability?
it does. I know. It was a troll.
Oh god.
You play it
Through
main
and through,
phase 2
100%
with
to the
haste.
max.
Mono blue devotion at all?
I mean, it's okay there. I don't think it's great.
Yeah,
Not
probably
bad.
not.
Like, they're
Probably
like
not great.
Almost already.
Probably not
flies.
better than Hall of Triumph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next card is Peel from Reality. This
I
is
really
a
like
reprint.
this.
1 in a blue instant. Return target creature you control and target creature you don't control to their owner's hands.
It's a reprint from AVR as well.
Also insane in AVR. Yeah.
Yeah, I
it was
would
in
have
a
put
set
this at
before
like
it,
Yeah, it
though.
was
wasn't
before
it?
AVR.
I would have put this at a B plus maybe.
This
not
is
a B plus.
this is from
a B.
original Ravnica.
Plain B.
This is from original Ravnica
Yeah,
block.
it is. Yeah.
But it's also from AVR.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in both sets.
Yeah, you gave it a C plus. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is the restriction that you have to have a creature to cast it, so it's not unsummoned. But
It is
a lot of times you can make situations where it's very, very,
You
very
also,
good.
in theory, dead a removal spell or something.
Yeah,
That can
exactly.
happen.
You either dead a removal spell, bounce a guy, or you bounce a guy with an ETB.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with C plus.
Can't wait
That's
till
why
we-
it was insane in AVR because of that exact reason. There weren't a lot of removal spells, and when they played them, if you blanked them, it
Yeah.
broke the game. And there were a ton of things with ETBs. If you bounce your Mist Raven that was dying and their thing, the game's over.
Could
but,
like re-soul bind your guys.
it's not
or whatever.
going to be that good, but it is. I do still think it's very good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
Can't wait till it gets a quick ring, but
Polymorphous Jest, 1 blue instant till end of turn. Each creature target player controls loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. So this card seems very good. Seems like a complete blowout.
this card could be a complete blowout almost every time.
You gave it a B, Stella? I would put it higher than that, I think.
B plus, A minus.
I would say A minus.
This card could be Wrath, right?
Did I not? Yeah, the fact that I didn't rate
It's
this the same
cheap.
as Aether Spouts is incorrect. It should be a B plus.
It's cheap. You can use it on defense and offense.
Also, isn't there some red or black enchantment that pings everything when it attacks you?
Yeah, Circle of Flame. Circle of
Yeah.
Fire.
Like, do that with the trigger on the side.
Yeah, right, that's a
and
combo.
it's Amazing.
Why are you playing Circle of Flames? That's my question.
For this exact scenario. I will
Alright.
devote a whole deck to
You,
this if I
no,
ever see
but
it.
guys, what you can do is you can attack with your Ornithopter,
And
and
then,
then you're like,
boom.
oh, I'll take 0, and you're like, nope, take 1.
3 mana Spark Jolt. I'm on board.
Not
Not even,
No scry.
not even Spark Jolt.
Not even Scry.
Next card is Quick Ring. 1 in a blue, 2/2 Fairy Rogue with Flash and Flying. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return another creature you control to its owner's hand. So this is like the Fairy Rogue dude. Fairy Invader.
I
Not
think this.
Fairy Invader.
I think this has some level of possibility of seeing play in like modern, like. So it's 2 mana for a 2/2 flash flying.
In fairies?
Yeah, because all the fairies decks are playing like 4 Snapcaster Mage.
It's good with Click and Spell Stutter.
It's super good with spells.
Misbind.
It's super good with any of those cards, but it's like actively insane with
How about Unlimited though?
in limited. It's not that good, I don't think. I mean, because you have to return a creature you control to its owner, your hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, reminds me of
The fact that
Deputy.
this is
Deputy of
flat speed
Quiddles.
makes this a lot better, though.
Hmm.
I still don't think it's good. That it's flash.
Yeah.
That it has flash is very relevant because it can still blank removal spells.
Yeah, but the way in which it does so though is also you could get blown out by this card if you're trying to play it proactively too.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's like cheap enough that you can kind of play around it early.
I don't think that's why I only gave it a C because I don't think you can really ever hope to play this card proactively. I think that's usually
Yeah.
bad.
In RTR, there was the 2/1 for 1 that had that ability.
Yeah.
But it
No,
didn't
no,
have
no,
flash.
Right, it didn't have Flash, but I played that card a lot, and
Vinny
This
should have
is
played like
just
4
available
of it in his Perforos
standard,
mono
yeah.
blue deck.
I'd probably give this like a C+. You gave it a C.
Yeah, I
Alright,
gave it a C.
let's get through this blue stuff. We're almost done.
Research Assistant,
Is
1
he
in a blue.
wrestling a pig?
He's
I have
carrying
no
something.
idea.
He's
Yeah,
wrestling
carrying
something. 1 in a blue for a 1/3 human wizard that has 3 in a blue and tap it to draw, then discard. So it's a loot ability.
for the maximum
Really
amount.
expensive loot ability.
But I would play this over that 1/3 that we talked about earlier. Chief Engineer, get him out.
So you
Get
gave
this guy in.
you gave this a C, Stella? You think this guy's like average?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably C minus this guy.
Because unlike Matt, I think a 1/3 for 2 is playable.
I do think it's playable, but it has to have some relevant text. It
It
can't.
doesn't
relevant
always.
text.
Oh,
I mean, this is a very relevant ability. Like looting's really good
yes.
unlimited.
This card is much better than Chief
It is-
Engineer.
it is expensive, but
Chief Engineer has relevant text.
It
I'm
does
gonna,
not.
I'm gonna turn to some
Scuttling Doom,
I'm gonna turn
Scuttling
to
Doom
Scuttling
engine.
Yeah, and you're gonna be like, "What just happened?" I'm gonna be like, "I cheated, obviously, because there's no way I could turn to Scuttling Doom engine."
Yep.
Well,
you,
you
could
could.
have 4 ornithopters.
You could have 4
in play.
ornithopters in play.
Next, we have Soul of Ravnica, 4 blue for a 6/6 flying avatar. It has 2 abilities, 5 blue, draw a card for each color among permanents you control, and 5 blue, exile Soul of Ravnica, do the same thing.
So why couldn't this card be like all the other
Be
souls?
in Dragon's Maze?
That too. But why couldn't this card be like all the other souls and actually have ability like I feel like in this set they decided that drawing a card is way too powerful because like the loot had to cost 3 mana on top of costing like a dude, right? And like
And blue.
this card
Is going to be draw 1 or 2.
is gonna be draw 1 or 2 for
Yeah.
7. Like
For 7.
it's so bad. Like why couldn't this ability cost like 3 blue like they thought it was originally? Originally
Yeah,
when this
it
card
should
was
be.
very first
Yeah.
spoiled, they thought it was 3 blue, draw a card for each color. That would be
I mean-
fair.
The upside is that you're getting the best static ability out of all the souls
Correct.
with flying.
Correct. But the fact that
But
they
you're getting
activate
the
is-
worst activated ability.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the black one off.
No, the black one's very good.
It's
Anyway,
just, it's not that good.
it's really good.
It's a card that you never play, like March of the Return.
I played March of the Return,
Not that often.
and it's 3, not 2.
It's not that good.
You gave this an A plus. All right.
I mean, it's
A
still a
minus,
6/6 flyer for 6.
Yeah, I give it.
Yeah, I would agree with A minus. Statue of Denial is the next. Statute of Denial. 2 blue instant counter target spell. If you control a blue creature, draw a card and then discard a card.
This card's so bad.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
loot
pretty
effect.
bad.
Boom.
It's situational loot effect.
If you have that
For extra
looter
mana
out,
on
you
cancel.
can choose which way you want to spend 4 mana to loot.
Yeah, D plus. I'd probably give this a C minus because I could see this being a 23rd card in your deck.
That's fair. I could never see this being a 23rd card in my
In your decks, you know.
Like I'd play 100 cancels before I play this card.
Yeah, obviously.
You'd have a really weird draft deck.
Be a powerful draft deck.
Next we have Stormtide Leviathan, 5 blue for an 8/8 creature Leviathan with